Let's see here. Let's see if I remember how to do this. It has been a minute. All right. It's receiving content. I think it's going. They changed the format a little bit with how to live stream. And apparently there's like live chat like feedback at the end, like so you can replay the live chat after the live stream's over. I think it's a new feature. They just popped up with that, so I'm wondering if I should put the chat here or maybe it'll automatically do that anyway. What's up, guys? How's it going? It's been so long. How are y'all doing? Let's see if I can add window capture chat. And let's see if I can do this. There we go. I'll get to you guys in a second. I just gotta figure out the chat real quick. Man, it's been a while since I've done this. How are you guys doing? It's been so long. There we go. I'm gonna make that like that. There we go. That's huge. What's up, guys? Rolling Bath, how's it going? CD, what's good? You got those notification game on fleek? It is who you think it is. Unless, of course, we're in Altered Carbon, because I could be an altered sleeve. If you guys been watching Altered Carbon, that's like my new favorite show right now. I just binged the entire thing this past weekend. If you've wondered where I've just been binging a lot of shows. That's only partially true. How's it going, Grace? Chim Chim Pinky, Morgan Lee. Let's see, Yasuma Kiem, question mark? Rachel Spencer, what's good? Hikigaya Shotaro. There's so many interesting names here. I need to like take a linguistic class or something. How have you been? Where have I been? That's a complicated question. It's a fair question, very fair. And there is an answer. But it's like a long story. Hello, I come from you. What's up, Vietnam? I think it's morning there, right? It's like a different, it's 7:23 p.m. here right now. How's it going, guys? The Reborn Social. What's up? Viet Squad misses. I've missed the Viet Squad. I've missed everyone. Where have you been? Okay, so I wasn't planning on being gone this long. Zero plan to have this happen, but that's the way this stuff normally happens, right? That's typical for YouTubers when they disappear. It was an unplanned break. So long story short, I didn't plan like anything. I should have like written down I don't know, at least an outline of what to talk about, because I feel like there's a lot, but maybe I should just go from the heart and just say stuff. So in my job, I'm a process engineer. I studied industrial engineering at Penn State, then I got a job as a process engineer. So I got into this leadership development program. It's common with like really big companies, you know, like GM and General Electric and Procter and Gamble. They've all got these leadership programs. So anyway, I was in one. It was a lot of work. I got super busy, and we had this really big project, and I had to present it like 2 months ago. And so that took up my entire week, and I was so upset that I couldn't YouTube. So that was the first week that I was gone out of this past 2 months. So the first week was just I got super busy with work. But other stuff happened that really, I guess, lowered my motivation and kind of just killed my drive to do more videos. Let's see, what happened? Basically, there was this girl, and I really liked her a lot, and things didn't work out. And things actually kind of ended on Valentine's Day, actually. That's just what happened. So that really sucked. I won't go into details, because I don't know how much I really want to talk about that. But when that happened, there was just no way that I was going to be able to like just go and do live streams and videos and stuff, because when I'm reacting and when I'm reviewing stuff and when I'm doing these live streams, I like to be as energetic as I can, as positive as I can. Like I want to put out good vibes, you know, and everyone has good and bad vibes. I just try to wait until I'm in a good mood. I have bad moods just like everyone else. Anyway, so I was in a really bad mood because of that happening. It really sucked. And then when I was gone for like a couple weeks, it turned into 3 weeks, and then while I didn't have YouTube during that time, I started focusing on my job, and I started focusing on applying to other positions because when my leadership program ends, which it just did back in January, I have to look for a new position now. That's just the way it works. So I've been applying to other positions. I'd really like to move back to Maryland. Currently, I'm like right outside New York City in North New Jersey. That's where I live right now. And I'd really like to move a little bit further south down to Maryland because that's where my family lives and I really miss them. So I was thinking, why not get a job closer to home so I can be closer to family and everything. So that's been a lot of work, you know, like applying and updating your resume and stuff, and it's just been like a ton to deal with. But I'm almost done. Like I've been interviewing, I've been really getting on top of it. I feel like I finally caught up in my life, and that took 1.5 million years, but I finally got there. What's up, NeoCat? What's good? Boy, you can see like my cursor here. Let me just take that off quick. I think it's a pretty easy thing to do. There we go. I think there's a chat replay. Like if people watch this after it's done live, I think you're able to see this even without me window capturing it. But anyway, what have you guys been talking about? I missed you guys too. Can't believe I'm awake. I know it's super late for some people, but it's like 7 p.m. for me. So after this, I'm probably gonna eat dinner, then chill out, then maybe go to bed. I've missed doing live videos too. It's been a long time. I know it's been so long. It's probably one of my biggest breaks from YouTube. I kind of explained what I've been up to. If I left anything out, like, feel free to follow up with more questions because I don't know how good of a job I did. I miss seeing your videos in my feed. I've missed making videos. Like after 100K. And that's another thing. I forgot about that. It's like, after I hit 100,000 subscribers, I was thinking, well, what do I want to do next? Because I had like a desire to continue doing what I'm doing, but more so to continue in a new path and try new things. But it's kind of been all over the place. You know, when you diverge and think of a lot of different ideas, it's hard to sometimes hone in and converge onto a single idea. Bubble T8, yo! Look-see. It's gonna take me time, Bubble T8. I'm so used to seeing your name as Bubble T8. This is like a new person to me. But you're still a mod, so that's good. Just gotta remember that. Hey Josh, good to see you. Good to see you too, Wendy. Read my name. Colby Cheeser, hardcore fanboy. So I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. You're not Colby Cheeser. Are you from Vietnam? Because I know Colby Cheeser, he's another K-pop reactor. He recently started doing more Vietnamese pop reactions after I started doing them. And so I was guessing he probably got a lot of Vietnamese fans. So I'm just making a guess here that you're probably a Vietnamese person. I gotta go already. All right, see ya. I'm gonna do this for probably like, I don't know. I didn't have a plan on the time, so we'll see what happens. 7:24 in Malaysia. Wow. It's like a full AM PM switch in Malaysia. You a Cancer, all right. I am, actually. I was born June 30th, so that means my sign is a Cancer. What I've never looked mine up. Like, what are Cancers? Like, are they, like, what are some things about Cancers? Because I feel like I keep hearing from my friends, like, oh, I'm a Taurus and I can only blah, 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 deal with, like, Pisces. And they're really into that. I'm not into that at all, mostly because I don't believe it. But it's still fun to, like, talk about and stuff, so I wish I knew more about it. I'm curious what Cancers are known for. You're also a Cancer? That's cool. We're Cancer buddies. That's like a weird thing too, the Cancer. Like that sounds so terrible and negative. Like I don't want to be a Cancer. Cancerous sounds awful. Now, I'd rather be something that sounds cool, but I guess you can't. Pick. But how have you guys been? What have you been up to? How's life? Like I'm actually asking, like how is your life right now in this moment? Just take your time, you know, craft a well thought out response. It could be just simple good. But I mean, who's just good? Like I want to know. Like are you guys, what are you stressed about right now? What are you excited about right now? And what are you busy with these past couple days? So let's see here. Stressed about. I'm kind of stressed with, waiting to hear back from various positions to see whether or not I got it. I have an upcoming interview that's like really important because it's one of my top of my list. Let's see, excited about. I'm excited to get back into YouTube, and I've been busy with work and life these past few weeks. So what have you guys been up to? We're like a month apart. Okay. You're a Taurus. Taurus sounds so cool. Life. Just life. They claim to have a hard outer shell, at least cancers crack easily. Yeah, that sounds about right. Been waiting for Vic's comeback. They're coming back next month. Are they? Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. I'm a fan of Vic's. Let's see here. Exams in April. Oh, that's right. That's when like the semester is coming to an end. That's probably really stressful. Stressed because of college. I remember that. I don't ever want to go back to school. I'm pretty depressed. My aunt. So are you looking forward to the aunt, or are you stressed because of your aunt? I'm sorry you're depressed though. What are you depressed about? Getting better. School's been rough, but there's progress. That was like the story of my school life. Like, just school was just rough. I get it. Just stick with it. You just gotta do it. You gotta get a degree these days, because if you don't, it's gonna be much more difficult to get ahead. It's just the game you gotta play. It's way overpriced these days. School is like crazy expensive, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think eventually most people will just get their degrees online for free, and that's how people will get educated, but we're just not at that point yet, so you gotta play this game. Life is a game. You just gotta figure out how to play and how to win. I'm in my senior year of high school, so that's excited, busy all at the same time. I feel that, Kira. I feel that trifecta mixture of emotions. Let's see what's going on here. Sorry I'm missing so many things you guys are saying. Hope he saved my life with his mixtape. I still need to check out the Hicks tape. I know Akbar just put up his review. I'm looking forward to doing that too. The company I work for went bankrupt. I start a new job tomorrow. I'm really nervous. Well, good luck. Pray that goes awesome, Rebecca. That's gotta be stressful though. Like, to have your whole company just go bankrupt, and then you're like, crap, now what do? I gotta go find another job. That's super stressful. I think I'm stressed on debating whether I want to go to college or not. Well, I would say go, for sure. There are a few different situations where I say that there's no reason to go. I think 9 times out of 10, it's the right thing to do for yourself. It's an investment in yourself. But there are a few occupations where you don't need to necessarily go to college. You know, like different trades, different technical degrees. There are things where you can get on-the-job experience. But most of the time, college is a good thing. I had the best day ever today. I won no way, an SF9 signed album. I was pretty stressed and depressed recently. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I love SF9. They're awesome. They killed it at KCON. They were one of the best groups, and they're one of the newest ones, which is funny. Like, normally you'd think like the most seasoned groups, like the ones that have been out for years, would be killing it at KCON, but typically it's been the opposite. Like, the groups that have been out the longest kind of are the most disappointing to me. This is a personal opinion, but the new ones tend to have more energy. They bring more. I don't know. They bring more. Pretty depressed. My aunt's husband is very sick. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Your aunt's husband is sick. That's too bad. So your uncle. We'll be praying. Pray your aunt's husband starts to feel better. I felt a little sick recently. Nothing like prolonged. I just didn't know why, so it really bothered me. Like, I just got sore stomach. Like, I would just get a sore stomach after like every meal. I couldn't understand why it was happening. It happened for like a week or two. I'm thinking it's stress related. I'm so tired. How well would it be like that? Well, you should get more sleep. Just close the live stream and go to bed. I'm actually focusing right now on getting better sleep because I've gotten pretty bad sleep. I can function okay on bad sleep, but you're so much better in life when you've had a good night's sleep. Like mental health, physical health, emotional health. Busy as hell, finishing assignments and getting ready for finals. I'm excited to go home and the comebacks that are coming. There are so many comebacks. That's one good thing about being like a multi-fandom fan, is because there's so many new things to be excited about moving forward. Kind of changed up my whole school path, and I'm going to end up graduating a year early, so that means I'll be starting college in the fall. Hopefully now I'll have that awesome. Sometimes you got to switch it up. Like, you can't know with a lot of things. Most things in life you don't know for sure unless you get into it and try it. Like, most people switch their degrees 2 or 3 times. They switch their major. But that's a good thing. Every time you switch, it's not like a defeat. It's just you're adapting and evolving into what you want to do and what works best for you. That's awesome. I love that name, MG Ryan's Pajamas. The sign of Cancer is a crab. I've heard. Yeah, it's like that, like the 2 crabs, like the 69 almost. I've heard that the first doctors that kind of discovered cancer choose the name because the tumors kind of look like a crab or something. That's funny. Reaction more K-pop and V-pop, please. I'll get there, for sure. I got a lot of stuff to catch up on. I'm busy with getting my visa application stuff together. I'll be studying in Hong Kong for a semester. That's pretty cool. I always wished I studied abroad. That's something I regret not doing. A lot of plan to organize until then. That's a lot of stuff to organize. Good luck with that, though. That sounds awesome. All right, whoops. I just missed a bunch, sorry. I'm trying, guys. Stray Kids are debuting today. Are they? Like, I thought they had, like, plenty of music videos out already. Oh, yeah, those are all, like, pre-debuts. It's all game. It's all game. It's bad. When you've been in K-pop as many years as I have, eventually you start seeing these patterns and you get tired of these, I don't know. You don't get tired of the groups. You get tired of the marketing strategies. You know, you can just see it from afar. You're like, come on, just debut already. It's like pre-debuts and I don't know. It's all just to market it and stuff like that. Like when Elevator came out, everyone loved Stray Kids. I don't know why they didn't just make that their debut. I guess they're trying to hype it up and gain traction. And if it went really bad, it would be good for the company to be able to pull out easier than to actually form an official debut and then it go bad and pull out and there'd be repercussions. So I see it as companies not wanting to commit. They want to be more free and mobile. You know, like NCT, the whole business model of NCT was to try as many things as possible without having to commit and then to capitalize and double down on the things that work. Which I understand that from a business perspective, it's smart, but it kind of ruins the I don't know. It ruins a part of the music. Think about it. It means find new happiness. Exactly. People concerned with a new hype, everyone. NCT is crazy. Yo, what's up, Cam? It's been a minute. Let's see, I'm a lot of mods in the house. What's up, guys? The more time I spend as a K-pop fan, the longer I get tired of it, the whole business. Well, it's just getting saturated. You know, I feel like K-pop was so new and unique, you know, than anything else. Anything else out there, K-pop was unique. It was like there's nothing like it. And anyone, including this white boy who had an Asian college roommate who introduced him to it, the second that I got introduced to K-pop, I knew right away, like, this is new, this is different, this is awesome. But now it's, I don't know, it's a little different. There's some good things and there's some bad things about the direction that it's going in. That could be like a podcast for another time. But overall, I've been impressed. I think that there's always going to be great talent. There's always going to be awesome new music and new sounds and whatnot. But there is something bad, or I guess something negative about going too mainstream, because when it loses its unique flavor. You know, like, I don't know, like say you have your favorite coffee shop and it's a unique, like, run business down the street from you. And let's say one family owns and runs this coffee shop and it's the best coffee and the best sandwiches or whatever. And then eventually they do so well, they start 2 coffee shops in 2 different towns, and then they start 4, and then they start 8. And then let's say they franchise it, so now there's a coffee shop just like that in every single city and town in the US. Eventually, it gets so mainstream that it loses its originality. It loses the the thing that made it so unique. Does that make sense? I don't know. I've seen that with some artists too. You know, artists that have an underground scene, and they come up from the bottom and they're writing their own lyrics, and they're really into their art, and they're not caring who likes their stuff or not. What they care about is staying true to themselves. And then let's say they debut in a group like an SM group. As soon as you debut in an SM group, you lose most of your original creativity and your influence. And I know that there's exceptions and things are changing and whatnot, but when things go too mainstream, sometimes they lose their uniqueness. Bye, Josh. I gotta go do my engineering project. Oh, cool. Awesome. See ya. Good luck with your engineering project. Engineering project management class. This is a valuable class. Sounds worthwhile. All the kids I know only like the K-pop because they are hot. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's a sexual element. Like, in all of entertainment, there's sexual elements. In all of life. I mean, that's why beautiful people run the world. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but, you know, 95% of the people that run the world, they're all beautiful people. You know, ugly people don't rule the world. You know, it's just amazing how important physical appearance is in all of life. No matter how many people say it's not important, it is important. But the thing about physical appearance is it doesn't say at all what you're like on the inside, which is why there's these cliche sayings like, you know, you got to be true to what you are on the inside, and inside beauty is more important than outside beauty. I think it's just as important. It's just as important. I'm never ruling the world then. Well, me neither, Neocat. You and I are just gonna be kawaii potatoes chilling and listening to K-pop, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to rule the world. People ever say like Josh for president, I'm like, I don't want the job as president. That seems like a stressful job. Have you ever looked at before and after pictures of the US presidents? Like before and after their terms. Like it's stressful. It's like a little depressing how much stress they go under. You can see they look so young and full of life in the beginning when they first get elected. At the end of their term, they're like always gray hair, wrinkles. They look like they're 50 years older. Here, let me try to find it real quick. It should be an easy thing to look up. I'm gonna add a window capture, and I'm gonna change it to one of my windows. There we go. So I'm looking up Google here just for a second because I thought it'd be fun to look up. Let's see. The presidents before and after their term. All right, Google Images, do your thing. So here we have one example. Here, I'm going to cut this short and blow it up. Before and after their term. Doesn't look too bad. George W. Bush, well, he definitely looks a little more weathered here. See. Oh, wow. Dang. Yeah, that's significantly different change. And these terms, you know, they could be 4 years or 8 years, but it would never be more than 8 years. But he looks so much more aged than 8 years. Before and after their terms. Wow. 2009, 2016. Dang. He looks like maybe 36, 40 here. And he looks like a decade older, like 15 years older here. But really, that was only 7 years. That was 7 years later, he aged that much. He's a good-looking guy, too. Obama's he's a cat. But, you know, stress just does that to you. It's pretty amazing. Stress is the one thing. This is a proven fact. Stress is the one thing that can negatively affect every single organ in your body. Isn't that insane? Like, you can die from stress. You can shave years off of your life from stress. It's amazing. So what's up here? What's going on, guys? How'd we get on this topic? Oh, sorry, we're talking about... Everyone says that looks don't matter, but whatever. Or whatever, but like... Actually, how yeah, our society functions on that, exactly. All right, just this pre-debut thing, well, the concept is pretty interesting. The whole album itself concurs. That's what I like. That's why I like supporting more of the K-hip hop scene, and then some of the younger debuts like SF90s, because they have so much creative input into their process. Like obviously, for example, with Epic High, they write, they compose, they make all the beats for everything they've ever done. And for example, with we got August D, we got Suga. He made his new album. He did that whole thing on his own. I'm not sure with every other group that's up here, but quite a few of them, especially like MFBTY, for sure, write their own stuff. Now, I have an extra layer of respect for people that are like that. Obama one is pretty bad. Yeah, it's a lot of stress. He got a stressful time, you know? It's just stressful being president. Whew. Have you watched a Korean drama before? Because I watch Korean dramas every day. I don't think I have. No, there's a bunch I want to start, but I haven't started any yet because there's always been like American shows that I've been wanting to catch up on before that. I'm almost done with all of my shows, so I might check out a K-drama next. There's been quite a few. There was City Hunter was one that a bunch of people recommended. Goblin was one I've wanted to check out. Keep seeing clips of that online. Reply 1997 or whatever. You know that whole Reply series? I think there's been like old ones and new ones. That was one that was very highly recommended by you guys. So there's a few in my mind that I want to start soon, but I wanted to catch up with the others. Have you guys seen Kentaro? Hold up. You guys need to check this show out. They need to like sponsor me or something. Kentaro. This is the greatest show of all time, and it's on Netflix. It's absolutely amazing. It's called Kentaro, the Sweet Tooth Salaryman. Akbar just sent me this GIF yesterday. You've got to check out this show. It's on Netflix. It's absolutely hilarious, and I highly recommend it. I watched the entire first season. I binged the whole first season with Akbar one week, and it was awesome. So funny. It's based off of an actual manga, I think. An anime or a manga. I can't remember which. I think an anime. So it's like a real life adaptation of an anime, and it's absolutely awesome. Highly recommend. I've never seen any show like it. You like the Reply series? That's cool. Yeah, I should check that out. A lot of people have recommended it. I just got finished with Bridal Mask and it's so good. I haven't seen that one. I haven't heard of it either. LMAO, what? I'll definitely never ask you to react to French pop because it's and you care about my ears. I think every country has their own flavor of music. You have to like take it within that, you know. Like even in K-pop, you know, like super girly concepts like bubble pop, you know what I'm saying? Like some not even Girls' Generation, like Twice and G-Friend. Like, I don't like that kind of music, like super bubbly pop, because it's made for 10-year-old girls. You know, it's not made for a guy in his 20s. But I can still appreciate some really good bubble pop in its genre. Like, I've heard enough bubble pop that I know what's good bubble pop and what's bad bubble pop. So I can still give a sort of an objective a review, you know, within that genre. You alive? I am alive. What's good, guys? How many people are watching this right? 60. That's impressive for like being gone for 2 months. I didn't even schedule this stream. What's up, guys? Josh, have you ever wanted to watch a Korean drama? Absolutely. We just like talked about that for the past like 5 minutes. There's plenty of dramas I'm gonna start soon. I just need to get through what I'm watching now. My older sister Joy just recommended that I check out The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Let me check that out. The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I love this show now. It's such a funny show. I'm a huge fan of this show now. I think I binged like the first season already. I've been kind of moving through it slowly, but I really like this show. It's hilarious. It's unique. It might get old eventually. I haven't gotten through very much of it, but I've really enjoyed that. I think I really like that show. What else have I been watching? I watched Altered Carbon. I just finished this show last night. It's on Netflix. It's absolutely amazing. Love this show. Freaking awesome. Let's see here. Oh, there's so many beautiful women in that show. There's so many. It's like this show made for men my age. There's so many beautiful women. It's ridiculous. All right, what else have I been watching? Kantaro, Altered Carbon. Ooh, The Magicians. I'm still following along with this. They're still coming out with new episodes. I haven't seen the newest episode that just came out. I'm a big fan of this show. If there's any way I describe this show, The Magicians, I would say it's like a R-rated Harry Potter. So it's like Harry Potter, but like, I don't know, TVMA Harry Potter. Like college Harry Potter. You know, so it's not like PG-13. It's definitely, it's got like a lot more violence and adult content, and it's just made for a more mature audience. I really liked it. I'm sorry I've been missing your guys' comments. What have you been talking about? Oh, hey, what's up, Natalia Ortiz? Let's see, 17 choreography. That's true. I have a huge respect for 17 because of how much they make all their own stuff. Like, they're making their choreography, they're producing their beats, they're writing their lyrics. Like, it's incredible. I'm impressed. You can watch some of their reality shows and they'll show them like actually putting together their beats and doing stuff. It's pretty cool. So mad respect. 17's one of the exceptions, and I think that's one of the reasons they've gotten so big, is because they have so much say in what they do, you know. So they decide the direction they go as a group, and of course they're part of a company. What is it, Platus? Are they under Platus Entertainment? Can't remember. So they're under a company, but they really do make their stuff. And you so cute. No, you so cute. Girl. Thank you. Excited for Monster X. You should check out the new teaser if I haven't seen it yet. I'm definitely gonna check that out. I'm a huge fan of Monster X. Missed you too, Lauren Wright. Lauren White. Oh yeah, we messaged. Let's see. When I first got into K-pop, I hated those bubble pop cutesy concepts, but now I kind of like them. Those are like an acquired taste, I feel like. At first you're like, what in the world is this? And then after a while you're like, oh, what is this? Can you say one word in the Vietnamese language? What's your word for no? Is it no? Because then I can say no. I don't know. I don't know words in Vietnamese. I'm sorry. You have to teach me. You do like a word of the day or something. Maybe after a year I'll have like be able to say a sentence. It is funny. I love Kimmy Schmidt. I don't know how to spell my... Did you see Dark? I think I heard of that. I heard of that. Yeah. Dark show. It's a TV series. Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna check this out and then I decided not to. Like, it was literally on my list of things to check out. German science fiction thriller. And I think that's why. It's because it's literally in another language, right? And I didn't know how I felt about that. Maybe it's not.
Gestern, heute Morgen folgen nicht aufeinander. Sie sind in einem ewigen Kreis miteinander verbunden.
Dang. Maybe I should just check it out. It looks good. 15-year-old boy disappears under mysterious circumstances. You know, I just realized this, when I'm done with this stream, YouTube will scan it for any copyrighted material. So this is probably copyright. It might give me a block, you know, so if I play more than like 10 seconds, it'll probably pop up and block it. But I think I might check that out. That looks like a good show. I've heard good things. I should probably check that out next. Yeah, I should check out Dark. Andrews, I've never heard of that drama. It sounds super interesting. Josh Chill. What did I do? Can you give us a quick summary of those shows? I'm intrigued. Oh, I guess I could. Which show are you talking about? You should really check out Reply. A bunch of people have recommended that to me. Reply, I've heard a bunch of good things. Josh, try watch Ghost Seeing Detective. Didn't I check that out? I thought I saw that. No, I haven't seen that one. That got good reviews. 9.1, 7.4. That got decent reviews. I might check that out. Okay, cool. I am alive. It feels good to be alive. The Magicians is amazing. TVXQ is doing a comeback. I saw like a clip from Chang Min, at least Chang Min's, I haven't seen Yuno's, but Changmin's looked amazing. It looked way better than the last comeback, and I'm sorry. I'm a huge TVXQ fan. I'm a fan like JYJ Days. Like, I'm a fan of Changmin like you wouldn't believe. But Changmin's comeback last time, it was so boring. I was like, come on. Yuno came back like hardcore. Like, I was a huge fan of his. That's why I like Stray Kids. It's clear that dies is funny. I've heard of that one. I heard of that one. I'm not getting. I don't know what to. I'm sorry. Yes, Platus. Okay, so 17 is under Platus. Watch all my Korean dramas and Japanese drama on Drama Maniac. I haven't heard of that one. Actually, yeah, I think I've stumbled upon that one once. Supernatural, I liked. That's a good show. Obviously, it went on too long, and now it's kind of like, what's the point? They've already done all the major plots they could have. Charmed, I haven't seen yet. Shadowhunters, I haven't. The 100 I saw. I thought that was pretty good. I thought they were done with that show already, right? Are they still coming out with new episodes? Like, I saw basically most of it. It's a good show. It's not great, but it's pretty good. I'd still recommend it. Whoops, sorry guys. So my favorite shows. Have you heard about BTS airing their Burn the Stage show on YouTube Red? No, I didn't hear anything about that. What is that? Burn the Stage? It's like Hit the Stage, but they decided to put their own little flair on it. That's funny. Are you planning on attending KCON this year? I am. I'm definitely going to go to the New York one. Probably going to go to the LA one. The question is, will I go to any of the international ones? I don't think I will, because I mean, it's so tough getting off work. Or it's not tough as much as you know, like as an employee, as an engineer, you're only given like a certain amount of time off work, like 2 weeks, and that's all your vacation. So I would go for like a long weekend, you know, a 3-day weekend, and go somewhere if they actually invited me and paid for my airfare. But KCON is like, don't tell anyone I said this, but KCON is super cheap. Like, most people know that too. Like any of the YouTubers who have worked with KCON, like KCON's really, really cheap. So they're probably not going to pay me to go anywhere. They might pay me like an appearance fee, you know, for like panels and what modding and whatnot. But YouTube with its copyright, you got to be careful. I'm German, LOL, and it's 2 a.m. Why you stream so late? Sorry, June. I'm German too, actually. I'm mostly German. I'm like 50% German. So I'm also a lot of it. I got my 23andMe genetic DNA report back. I'm 100% white. It was so boring. But there was one thing that popped up that was like unidentified. So hey, maybe that was like unidentified South Korean descent. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know why I always do that. If you want to see something awesome, some awesome dancing, you need to check out Memory Angel pre-release solo debut. Ooh, that sounds neat. There's so many good things to check. I need to like write a list. I got on here to watch TED Talks, but this is basically the same thing. Yo! Lauren, you're a mod, okay? I'm making you a mod right now. Boom! It's official. It just done happened. That's a huge compliment, by the way. Thank you. I'm not interesting as a TED Talk. TED Talks are really interesting. Well, half of them are just boring, but there's some really interesting TED Talks. I'm a huge fan. I had a thought the other day. If I were to do a TED Talk, I would do one completely different. It would be based off of not these random statistics that people reference to, and no one really knows if they're right, and they might have been true statistics, but they could have been altered or asked a certain way. Like, when you understand even the basics of statistics and you know, random theory, you basically figure out how everything can be manipulated and altered. So I could come up with a study right now where I could like tweak it in a way and saying most people agree that the Holocaust wasn't a really bad thing. It's like, well, how in the world did they come up with that data? You know, like they ask questions that are trick questions, or they're loaded questions, or they're asked in a way that there's no right answer, or, you know, it's tough. But I would do a TED Talk where everyone in front of them has an iPad. You know, obviously that'd be a tough thing to put together. I don't know, like rent out 200 iPads. So everyone has an iPad. And then as they're going through my TED Talk, I'll go through questions. I'll say, like, what? With your iPad, answer yes or no, have you ever been to college, for example? And the people would say yes, the people would say no. Immediately on my screen, it would show the results of these questions. And so that's how I would lead through the TED Talk, is from statistics based on the actual audience I'm talking to. So there really is no hidden agenda or ways to trick the questions. Like everyone knows what the questions are, and everyone's in the same room as the people answering the questions. So it would be like real-time statistics from the actual audience themselves as they're watching. And I would like kind of craft an entire talk around their answers. That's what I would do, because no one's done that before, at least not that I've seen. But it seems like such an easy thing to do, and it would actually be really telling. I think it'd be really fun to watch, to see what people are actually thinking and how they're answering statistical questions. Can't believe other people are watching German shows because most of them are awful. That's funny. I'm sure there's good ones like Dark. I gotta check that out. Have you ever seen this show called The Librarians? Because that show is the original of the Stranger Things. No, I haven't. I didn't know about that. I'm a fan of Stranger Things. Have you ever watched Doctor Who? No, I haven't. And so many people have told me to watch that. I'm just like, it's so many seasons and it came out so long ago. Like, I'm sure it's a great show, but do I kind of have to like bear through the first 4 seasons because it's old and dated? And do I really want to do that and have that huge time investment just to check out the new seasons that are the best? I don't know. Maybe the whole thing's good. What animes are you currently watching? My Hero Academia and Tokyo Ghoul are coming back in April. Tokyo Ghoul was so-so for me. You know, I could really get into my review. I mean, it's a great anime, but for me personally, I didn't feel like it was too... At the end, it lost me. It lost me at the end. And I'll tell you why. It was that drawn-out torture scene at the end. It was way too drawn out, and the point they were trying to make was just a little bit too disjointed, and I didn't feel like it was too congruent. I feel like it lost its continuity. It lost its drive. And I don't know. It was just kind of a... I heard the manga was better, but... And I know that it kind of like diverged away from the manga. Like it used to follow it, but now it kind of doesn't. I don't know. Maybe the new season is better. Oh yeah, what am I watching right now? No animes. Like currently, I'm not watching any animes. I've seen like 50 animes in my life, 50 to 100. I'm really excited for the new season of One Punch Man, and I'm excited for the new season of, what's the name of that one show? Let's see, One Punch Man, and I'm looking up all my anime posters. Oh, Attack on Titan. They're coming out with a new season. I'm super excited for that. It's like one of the best animes that have ever come out. Attack on Titan is amazing. Dang, Josh, savage. What did I say that was savage? You should check out NCT Empathy album, full of amazing songs. NCT Empathy. The show I've been watching lately is Black Mirror. Black Mirror. That show destroys me. It's dark, and it is so real, and it's so relevant, and it just cuts you to your core. It's a good show. I mean, only a really well-crafted show could do that. Dark Mirror is great. I've seen all 4 seasons. Highly recommended. Black Mirror is fantastic. Not good. I just don't know what to understand. Whoops. Shoot. Sorry, I lost my place, guys. Thanks, Cam. I like the TED Talks so much they make me question my entire existence about the universe. Yo, Jesse Edgy, what's good? It's been a minute. How you doing? Good to see you. How have you been, Jesse? Every kid needs a champion. It's a great one. Smart. Jesse, I have homework, but I'm watching you instead. I don't know how I feel about it. Well, if you can get away with it and you already have a good grade in the class, do it. Just skip it. Like, school's important, but it's important to complete more than it is to like do amazing in it. Well, it depends on what your goals are, but for me, it was like the lull of diminishing returns. I don't know if I had the ability to get straight A's in engineering. Engineering was super tough for me. But at a point, like if I could get a B or I could study double and get an A, why not just get the B? Let's see. For your TED Talk question thing, there are apps you can use for the apps. See the app. Good point. Everyone has a phone, so you would just need an app. That's a good point, Grace. Thank you for that. That'd be really interesting to watch. Clickers would work too. iClickers, you know, like they use in that would definitely work. Clickers would work. An app would work. Either would work. Where are you come from? So I am from the U.S. Obviously, I'm American. But you're asking where specifically. So I was born in Baltimore, Maryland. Raised kind of near Baltimore. So yeah, just East Coast USA is where I'm from. Or you're asking my my DNA, like where's my ancestry from? Where's my ethnic ethnic background? So mostly European, like 100% white, Czechoslovakian, Irish, German, stuff like that. So when I was 15, I watched One Piece thanks to new anime. 11 years. One Piece, that was one I never actually ended up seeing. Tokyo Ghoul's manga is better. I heard the manga was better. I heard that from multiple people. Watch just the new series, bro. You don't need to watch the old series. Doctor Who is good and it's worth it. Maybe, yeah. If I just watched the new one, I might check that out. Did you watch Shape of Water? I know about it. I haven't seen it yet, but I know about it and I heard it's good. Cried so much, so it's sad. I don't want to see a sad ending. Unless you cried happy tears, then I might want to check it out. Mob Psycho 100. I think I watched the first few episodes of that. Let me check this out real quick. Mob Psycho 100. Isn't that the detective who's like psychic and he has a master who's like not psychic at all? Yeah, Mob Psycho 100. I saw this. I saw the first like few episodes, the first 2 or 3 episodes. It was good. I thought it was good, but it wasn't good enough for me as, a guy in his 20s to keep me entertained. It wasn't I didn't feel like it was super intellectually smart. Nowadays, I feel like I need something with a little bit of like, something that can actually challenge me intellectually to keep me interested. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, it wasn't that way before. Like, I grew up watching SpongeBob and Teen Titan and these mindless shows, and they're hilarious. And then you get to a certain age and you realize, oh, there were all these hidden adult jokes in those shows that I never understood, but now I can. And so you still enjoy it. But then you get to an age where you're like, all right, this is just mindless, and I want to stab my eyes out watching it because it's just boring. It's made for little kids. And you pass the age of being able to really enjoy that type of a show. When you get older, you mature in your tastes, and you like different things. So I know with a lot of animes, I just missed the window. I missed the window of being able to enjoy those. I don't know if that made sense, what I just said. I think it made sense. I'm not watching any animes at the moment, but so 110 of Call Me Mother, and seriously good. Is it good? Call Me Mother. I feel like I've heard of that, too. Whoops. Oh, this is you answering. I've been doing better after 4 months. I'm getting back to my normal self. Good. That's good to hear. I'm glad you're doing well. Burson. People have been calling me this for so long, and I've had to look it up. Apparently, it's some League of Legends player. That guy doesn't look like me at all, does it? Like, he's got way bigger glasses. Actually, he does kind of look like me. He's got the face shape and like the ears that kind of come out and like the hair that goes over, and I guess he does kind of look like me. I'm not gonna, okay. Yeah, see, especially there, that looks like me. I mean, I can obviously tell it's not me. It's not like a clone, but I can see why someone would say that. That's funny. Anyway, let's see here. Comments. When everyone recommending stuff on Netflix, but you don't have Netflix. Struggle is real. 100% white. Are you still study? Are you asking if I'm still in college? Because the answer is no. I graduated college May of 2016. So 2 years ago. And I've been working since. What kind of white are you, Josh? So like German, Irish, Czechoslovakian. Let me pull up my 23andMe. Let's see what it says here. I'll show you guys right now. Shop now, log in, sign in. Here we go. This is pretty fun doing this. It has some really interesting information here. Okay. Relatives, genetic report, ancestry. Here we go. This is I took a DNA test, and this is my ancestry report here. Here, let me fix this for you guys so you can see it better. And I'm gonna bring it down. There we go. Can you guys see that okay? I don't know if you guys can see it, but here we go. All right, so ancestry composition. I can get the whole window for you guys. It'd just be super small, you know? So this is the part of the world highlighted. See, it's Josh Biner, JB. That's me. This is the part of the world that I'm from, if you guys can see that okay. So mostly all in here. So if you look down at the stats for me, I'm 100% European, 100% white. There isn't a shred of anything not white in me. So Northwestern European, 97%. French and German, British and Irish, Scandinavian, Finnish. Broadly Northwestern European and Southern European. So mostly this area right here. That's what kind of white I am, I think. Assuming their tested populations were accurate. French and German. I'm not proud of my French heritage. But that is there, nonetheless. That's mostly a joke, me saying that. I just know French are known to be cowards, given all the wars that they've run away from, and I don't like being associated with such a cowardly ancestry like the French. But you know, the French aren't just cowards; they do a lot of things, right? They serve really small portion meals. They talk with an accent that makes it seem like they're better than you. They do a lot of stuff. It's interesting. Again, I'm mostly joking. Did you watch Train to Busan? No, I haven't. I heard it was good, though. Love Doctor Who so much. I have never met someone who watched Doctor Who and did not like Doctor Who. Like, everyone that's seen it loves it. Breaking Bad, that was a good show. That was a good show. Josh, please, whatever. It's so tough to... See, when you scroll down like this, eventually it just skips to the end. So it gets better as it goes along. It probably does. It just didn't really have a good plot, and the plot takes time to develop sometimes. I missed you too. There's still people coming in like, whoa, why are you doing a live stream? Teen Titans is where it's at, not Teen Titan Go. What's Teen Titan Go? Is that like a new adaptation of Teen Titan? What is this, Teen Titan Go? I gotta check this out. Man, you guys are gonna have me like Googling things all day. All right, let's check out Teen Titan Go. Teen Titan Go is a TV series. DC Comics started. When did it start? Number of 204 episodes. Dang. From April 2013 to... Okay, so that was after I stopped watching Teen Titans. So when I stopped watching Teen Titans, I guess they made this new Teen Titans Go thing. Okay. So it's not very good? Gotcha. I won't watch it then. Try to seinen animes. Those kind of animes are trying. Yeah, because that's made for like the older crowd. So there's seinen and there's, you know what? There's like that name to describe anime that's for younger kids too. And yeah, you're right. Mostly that's what I watch. I see the result. There's some Bergson. I don't even know how to say his name. Bergson. It's like a weird. I don't know why the J, then Berjse. It's so, I don't know how to even say it. My brother told me you look like him. Did you ever watch Legends of the Hidden Temple? Nope. Josh, the Burn the Stage is a documentary series about BTS World Tour. You missed the answers above. Oh, okay. So it's a documentary about the world tour. So are they gonna, I guess they're gonna do a world tour? Are they about to do a world tour? Well, it legit looks like you. Yours remind me a bit of Chanyeol's. People have told me that. Chanyeol. Because he's got like, here, wait, let's find a good one. He always does like the slightly to the side, you know? Because that's like how his profile looks the best. But let's get a good picture. There we go. That's a good picture of him. He's got the cute little ears. Well, they're not little, they like stick out, you know? He makes me feel less self-conscious about my ears. Because he's a beautiful human, and he has like thousands of women swooning over him. So I can look up to him and be like, that guy right there, it's my idol. Look up to him. I love these fan arts of this. He's got good hair though, and a lot of that's genetics. It's tough to replicate. see here. Sorry, I'm like really taking my time to go through the comments. And sometimes I miss a bunch because like as I'm scrolling down, it like sometimes skips to the bottom and I'm like, no. But yeah. How are you? It's good to see you again. It's good to see you too. I call you Moonchild. Dang, you're old. We move on to the next topic now. Sure, what do you want to talk about? I can see this in it. You know, we're skipping to the bottom. Boom. We just skipped to the bottom. The ears is the only similarity. Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying I look like Chanyeol at all. The only similarity are the ears. That's all I'm saying. I know I do not look anything like him at all. Do you remember Von? Yeah, I do remember him. I used to watch this old show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yo, Buffy. Ah, that show. I remember that show. Who's watched this show before? Whoa. I zoomed in a little too much. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh, it's that chick, and yeah, she like played Daphne on the Scooby-Doo real life movie. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was a show. I remember thinking that show is awesome. Growing up, like I was watching this, I was like 10 years old. I was watching this. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this show. Let me skip down. What are you guys saying? Buffy with my mom when I was 5. Let's see the question. I love that show. That came after I was born in 1998. I was born in 1992. That's how old I am. I was a Charmed fan. Charmed, okay. Buffy is still one of my favorites. It's a great show. It's one of those like classics. It's a classic. I don't know if it'd be good for me to like go back and watch it now. I want to ruin the memory. Yeah, because things can get really, really dated. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Yeah, that's the name of that. That's Buffy. Gotcha. My cousin used to cover my eyes. That's funny. It's a 90s kids thing. That's probably just unique to 90s kids. Who remembers Sabrina the Teenage Witch? That is like a serious throwback. Some of you guys will remember that. Not everyone, though. That's like, we're going back in time right now. Sabrina. You need to eat out. Thanks, NeoCat. He's looking after me. Born in 1992, same as my older brother. Whoops. Tried rewatching it, not gonna lie, graphics are dated. Still a great show. Cordell is bigger than Buffy. Sabrina and Harvey. OTP. See, you know what's good. Let's see here. What else? Oh man, you grew up on so many different shows. A lot of great shows. Friends is a great show. Everyone knows Friends. Well, I assume, you know, anyone in the US. I don't know, is it like an internationally popular show? Friends? I always wonder if like Friends is known, or any big show here is like known throughout the whole world, or if it's just like, you know, just this region that really knows about it. I don't know. I don't know what the impact is of international shows. Like, I'll talk to my Indian friends at work, and they'll tell me most of the like animated shows growing up, they were available in India, like Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. Those are all available in India and stuff like that. But plenty of things though. Steve Urkel. Yeah, Steve Urkel was a good one. Fresh Prince. Of course. Fresh Prince. I'll never forget that. Steve Urkel. That's always a good one. Didn't Ratmon learn English from Friends? I think he said that. Dude's smart. He probably picked it up fast. Hey Arnold and Rocket Power. That was amazing. I love me some Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold's one of like the classics. I'd consider that a classic for sure. Hey Arnold. Which was the other one you said? Hey Arnold. Fresh Prince. Rocket Power. I watched Hey Arnold more than Rocket Power, but I did watch Rocket Power. Rocket Power. Where's the chick? There she is. There's the chick. I remember growing up, like when I was little, watching this and being like, that chick is so cool. Rocket Power. Man, this is a throwback. Join just reminiscing about these shows. What's up, Jay? Jimmy Neutron. Great show. Love Jimmy Neutron. I used to have that, what was it called? Like a Video Now. Do you remember those Video Nows? They were like in style for half a second. Let me see if they're still a thing. Video Now player. Spell player. You know, do you guys remember these? Like at all? Or am I dating myself too much here? Here's the Video Now. So basically you'd pop open this thing here and you put in these little tiny discs and you could play different things, like different videos. They'd have like episodes of SpongeBob or Jimmy Neutron. Like that was where it was at. I had a Video Now back in the day. It was like popular for 1 year and no one ever talked about it again. Kind of like Pogs or Beanie Babies, or what's another thing that you're growing up with as a 90s kid that was popular but never again? I don't know. I know Pogs, Beanie Babies, and Video Nows were all pretty much in the same category. I think we watched good series of child. Too old, never seen that before. There's no way you're too old, Cam. You're not older than me. Friend's boy. Report that also high. Cliffs, Tomagotchi? What's that? It's not a CD player. It's like a little, they play like videos and stuff. I don't know how to describe. Yeah, I guess it is CD. It's like mini CDs though. Those. I know what those, I forgot their name that, but yeah. It's like Pocket Pets. My sister was like obsessed with those growing up. The Pocket Pets. Oh, I'm too old. Then yes, that's a correct fact there. I thought you were saying you're too old. Okay. You still have your Video Now? That's funny. Viewfinder things. I don't know what you're talking about with the viewfinders. Well, if you can remember the name of it, I'll Google it up. So what have I missed in the past couple months? Like on the K-pop scene and the music scene? Has any drama happened? You guys got to tell me if there's been drama. I've been unplugged. This is me like unplugging. I've been unplugged from the K-pop scene for 2 months as I've been figuring my life out. But it's been figured out, and now I want to like know what drama's been going on. If there's been like scandals, tell me about it right now. Like I want to hear the juicy details. Like who cheated on who? Who's pregnant? Oh wait, that's like American pop scene. That doesn't really happen in K-pop. Like they're all responsible. I don't know. Any scandal, I want to know about it. Like, what have I missed? Any comebacks I should check out? Anything interesting? Didn't that dude from 101 date someone in the past? Like, that's the amount of scandals you'll get in K-pop. It's like, oh, I think that member used to date that one person, but it's not confirmed. It's like, that's it. I know Taeyang got married. Taeyang. I saw his wedding on, he was posting so actively on Instagram during his wedding. Like how does one do that when you're getting married? Like it's like the busiest day of your life and he's like posting all these like dancing selfies and stuff. It was pretty cool. Big Bang enlisted. Okay, I didn't know that. I assumed they would. I knew that was kind of the plan. Taeyang and GD are in the army. I mean, Taeyang, you gotta put a ring on it before you enlist. You know, because it's like a long time without seeing someone. You gotta lock that down. Taeyang knows what's up. GD is in the army, okay. He's getting his crayon in the army. Okay, that was bad. Let's move past that. I can do better than that. You guys deserve a higher quality of joke. Let's see, what else? 4 out of 5 Big Bang are now in the military. Who isn't? 4 out of the 5 are, but who is not in the military? Who's the one member who's just not in the military and being a loser right now? I'm joking, but I want to know who that is. Honey Popcorn debut? Who the heck is Honey Pop? What? Honey Popcorn? Come on. That's like a lost in translation. I can't even. I'm having such a hard time highlighting this, guys. All right, here we go. Let's look this up. Honey Popcorn. Oops. That wasn't it. Honey Popcorn. K-pop. There they are. Okay, so it's a 3-member girl group. From the look of it, they're a younger concept going out. Oh, what in the world? Is that like something else? That can't be them. I was about to say they're going for the pre-tween high school. Other Japanese porn actresses to join. I just stumbled upon some random thing. Okay, I don't know what I found here, but I'm guessing that is Honey Pop. Man, I need to be careful just like scrolling around on Google Images. You find some really messed up stuff. All right. Daesung 2. Big Bang released a song after they enlisted. Anyone watch this? Sorry, I just lost my place, guys. Here we go. Accusations of a few idols. Who? Oh, hashtag me too. Oh, snap. So like sexual allegations, like that dude touched me inappropriately or like that kind of thing. Like who was it? Which idol said that? Sorry, it's 3:25 a.m. So happy you're tired. What's up, Krista? I should like be whispering because you just woke up. What's up, Krista? How do you like stay up that late? I feel like at that point I'd be like so thrown off. 101 got caught saying some problematic stuff. You know what's hilarious? If you like, they have such a vocal stage. You know, any celebrity has such a platform. You have to be careful what you say because of how many people hear you. Even me, I have to be careful what I say because of how many people hear me. But the average person, like, I don't know. I get jealous sometimes that like someone could just say anything, you know. Well, I'll say this, like when you're with your friends and you're just privately hanging out with your friends, just like having a movie night or hanging out or whatever, like the stuff you say is the types of things you say could never be said in like a public setting. It's like you talk a different way. Like everyone says stuff that would get them in trouble. I believe that for sure. So there's celebrities that I personally don't really like or don't care for. But when I hear people getting on their case for like things that they said that were inappropriate, I never give them a hard time because I'm thinking everyone says inappropriate stuff or says things that would be problematic if they were public, if the whole world said it. It's impossible to please everyone. The guys from 101 said some bad stuff and they thought the camera was off. I mean, if you knew half the things that Akbar and I said when we thought the camera was off or when the camera was actually off. But yeah, it's funny. But I guess it's different. Like, if they thought the camera was off, would you judge them the same amount as if they were saying that publicly? I probably wouldn't, because if someone's like thinking it's not going out to everyone, they think it's going to be just in their lone little circle, they're more loose with what they say. You know, a lot of it could be a joke too, like saying things for shock value. But if you're in front of a camera, they're obviously more careful. I don't even know what was said. Like, I don't know what the problematic stuff was, but I personally don't care. I think that people need to be a little bit more lenient with those types of things. People are way too sensitive these days. I mean, I'm telling you guys already know this. We are like the butthurt, oversensitive generation of the world. We're the most sensitive out of any generation that has ever existed ever. That's a fact. So we're oversensitive. We need to be less sensitive. That's my whole point. 101 was being themselves, honest, and now they're getting hate from it. 101 is getting over a girl, is super obsessed with them. Daniel from 101 is in a scandal with a girl who's super obsessed. Oh, so he like dated a Sasang? Well, like not a Sasang, but like a super obsessed fan. I can understand that. Like, I am 50 Shades of single. Like, I don't like being single. It's just I haven't met anyone yet that I'm dating. You know what I mean? It just hasn't happened. It just hasn't happened. But, you know, like if some really attractive chick were to message me and she's like, hey, I know you from YouTube. Like, there's a thought going through my head. I'm like, I wonder if this could go somewhere. It's like, I don't know if it could, because they're never going to look at me the way that, you know, someone else that just met me might have looked at me. Like, I wouldn't want that to skew. I wouldn't want it to skew anything, like a perspective. Like, I wouldn't want people to, like, if I were to date a fan, for example, I don't know how that would go, because I wouldn't want them to have unrealistic expectations of me because I'm just a guy, you know. I wouldn't want them to think that I'm anything other than that. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. It's Craig in the Army. Susie and Lee Minobre. I didn't even know that. I didn't know they were dating. People got mad at Jay of Day 6 for saying he wouldn't spend $300 on a first date. Why would they get mad? See, this is the oversensitive generation. How dare them? How dare Jay from Day 6 say he wouldn't spend $300 on a first date? He should be spending $3,000, or he should be spending $30. It's just like, who cares? Like, that's a question we need to ask ourselves more often. Who cares? Oh, he's the one not in the military? All right. I see you. I see you. He's on some boring shows now. Last topic still. My family was like this, like the last family to get rid of dial-up, so I had to ask people to get off the phone so I could go on. That's funny. Dial-up. Do y'all remember that? Like, who here remembers dial-up? Like, actual dial-up, where it was like the dial tone every time you wanted to check your email? It was like... Anyone that doesn't know what that is going to think I'm crazy right now, but that's a thing for some of us in the struggle. No idea why so many people love Cabo so much. Whoops, sorry. I missed a lot. It just skipped to the bottom. The stuff they were saying, we're not that crazy. Netizens are just super sensitive. Yeah, and it's not just netizens. I think it's the world as a whole just gets a little more sensitive. It's the circle of like, how do I describe it? It's like societal development. You know, if you were to follow societal development, like let's look at like a super non-developed country. You know, like a less developed country. There are countries like India that have very developed cities. You know, a lot of beautiful cities, skyscrapers and everything. And then there's some areas that are very undeveloped. Same thing with the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, some developing countries, a lot of Africa. And while it's developing, they focus on bigger problems first. As a society, they focus on food. Like, for example, the Philippines, almost everyone's job that I ever ran into in the Philippines, they all had a job revolving around food. Whether it was farming or food processing or transporting food, like everything revolved around food for the most part. When a society develops past that, they have food kind of figured out. They've got the mass-produced, slaughterhouses for the meat packing industry. They've got the corn and the wheat and the water, and it's all kind of figured out. And you don't really see farms very often in the U.S., at least not here on the East Coast or on the West Coast. You kind of just see grocery stores, and you never really question it. You just go to the grocery store whenever you want food, and if you don't like the food in that grocery store, you go to a different grocery store. Like, that's a developed country. And then they start figuring out better, more and more higher complex problems when they get past the food. And then figure out political and military and all those different things. And I feel like when a country gets to the point that it's so developed, like the U.S., it's a very developed country. When it gets to the point where most things are figured out, that even the homeless people in this country have a way better standard of living, a way better quality of life than the richest people in some of these more developing countries, then things start going backwards. Then you start focusing too much on things. You start focusing on oh, this offends me, that offends me. We need to control what everyone says because everyone's getting offended at what everyone says, and make sure that everyone's pronouns are figured out. And how dare you assume my gender? It's like, are you not a girl? It's like, well, I am a girl, but I actually identify as a boy. It's like, well, how was I supposed to know? So there's a lot of different things where eventually it can get a little bit too nitpicky, and you get a little too sensitive. Josh is out there talking about real life issues. Sorry about that. But you guys get what I'm saying. Eventually you can get a little bit too nitpicky and a little bit too overly sensitive. When you go over in India, for example, it's not at all it doesn't even enter their minds as a racist thing to call a black person black. Like, oh, that black guy over there told me this. That's not a racist thing because that's just the color of their skin. It's not even, it's like that white guy, that black guy, that whatever guy. But here, it's a little bit more derogatory to just call someone a black guy. You know, because people get offended, you want to say person of color maybe, or you want to say African American, or something like that. It's important to talk about these things, but I think a lot of people can get overly sensitive. The more developed a country gets, we get overly sensitive to everything. I think because we have the big problems figured out. You know, we get all the big problems figured out. We're left with all these tiny little problems, you know, these small little problems that aren't threatening our health, you know, those types of things. Like in Syria, some of these people wake up and they're like, oh, they're chopping off all our heads today. That's happening right now in Syria. They're not running around and saying, hey, wait a second here. You got to get my pronouns right. They're running for their lives because their entire family was murdered. Like, that's a different way of life. They're figuring out those problems still. But once those problems get figured out and they figure out food and they figure out military and economics and education, they figure all those big problems out, eventually, you know, we're human. We want to figure out problems still. So we want to keep going, but it's possible to go too far. It's possible to go too far. So, but all that to be said, I think America is a great country. I enjoy living here. And I personally, and I know I'm biased, but I personally think it's the best place to live. I think it's the greatest country for a lot of reasons. You know, I enjoy a lot of the freedoms that we used to have. I enjoy all the opportunities that we have. And, you know, you put up with all the nonsense of, you know, people getting butthurt over little things that don't matter, and you just kind of enjoy it for what it is and try to focus on the positive. Josh Sensei Wisdom. I think it's also that the U.S. is pretty unique in its diversity. Oh, that's true. That's a very good point. Resolution Blue. You be you. So we get more clashes regarding cultures and identity. Personally, I appreciate the opportunity to have these conversations. That's a very good point. We're so culturally diverse, especially on the coasts. You know, when you deal on the coast here, so culturally diverse. I'm one of the only white people I work with. Most of the people I work with are not American. They weren't born in America. At church, I'm one of the only, like, I'll look around sometimes at church and be like, wow, I'm a minority right now. But that's North Jersey. I'm right outside New York City. And that's like one of the most culturally diverse places in the entire world is where I'm living right now. So it's a really unique experience, but I appreciate it. Like, eating disorders are mostly a rich country issue. Exactly. Eating disorders. You get these strange problems when you get too developed. No, I shouldn't say too developed, when you get developed to a point. Because I don't know if you can get too developed. Love your channel. Thank you. Appreciate that. Eating disorder. It's an interesting thing. You know, back in the day, like, I'm talking thousands of years ago, back in the day, the only fat people were rich people. Like, rich people were the only ones who didn't have to do manual labor, and they could eat in excess of whatever they want, especially fatty foods that are most delicious. So if you actually had a gut, that was like a symbol of prestige. That was a symbol of status. That was like, oh, look at him. He's slightly overweight. Like, he must be a wealthy guy. It was actually an attractive quality. Isn't that interesting? Like, the way beauty evolves over the years is really interesting to look at, how beauty evolves and beauty standards of all these different cultures. It's funny, I'm looking right now at my screen that has popcorn, honey popcorn right now. It's funny. Because, like, in Japan, for example, here's a good example. In Japan, this isn't Japan, but this is South Korea. But in Japanese culture, it can be attractive for women to have, like, some crooked teeth. You know, like some teeth coming in at different angles, you know, crooked teeth. That's attractive in Japan, but not here. So it's interesting. Some things that would be considered unattractive are attractive in other countries. So I guess you just got to figure out what country you're the most attractive in and then move there. I don't know. That was mostly a joke. Mamamoo's Starry Night music video. I need to catch up on Mamamoo. I saw that new comeback come out. Same with Pale Skin. Exactly. You know, and you come here, the East or West Coast, you got all the Valley girls getting tans. It's interesting. Like, I dated this one girl in college, my sophomore year, and she was from Thailand. She was born in Taiwan. She lives in Thailand, and she had these masks. I remember seeing them in her room because, you know, I do a lot of like I'll do mud masks and all like cosmetic stuff. I'm really big into skincare. So I noticed them immediately. As the first time I ever saw this, there was this product she had on her counter. It was a skin whitening, like a skin lightening mask. It was supposed to make you whiter. And it was so interesting. I didn't like mention it or anything, but I was like, wow, that's really interesting that she has a product that you could, like one of those fabric sheet masks that you put on your skin and then take off after a while and pat in the ingredients. It actually makes your skin whiter. And then a month later, it took her, and she had been like in America, you know, for a few months already for the semester, but it only took a few months of American culture, and I saw her out sun tanning one day. It was a beautiful May or June day, and she was sun tanning. And I was thinking, interesting, like she came from a culture, it was more attractive to have bleached skin, which is why she had those products. But after she spent just a little bit of time here, eventually she figured out the new beauty standards of tanning and she went out tanning. It was interesting seeing that. I don't know, it was just really funny to see that. Where have you been? You just got to rewind this stream to the very beginning where I gave the explanation. To know where I'm considered attractive. I'm gonna buy a ticket now. Me too. Me too. I felt like a celebrity in the Philippines and no one there knew I had a channel. Well, I mean, obviously there were people there like in the Philippines who subscribed to me, but I didn't run into any of them when I was there. I was a celebrity in my mind just because I was white. You walk around and there's no white people. Like I wasn't just, you know, I wasn't just in like Manila or somewhere, some big city in the Philippines. I went way deep into the mountains. Like as soon as we landed in, I think it was Manila we landed, we took a 6-hour bus ride north. So we were out in the middle of nowhere in the Philippines, and you walk around for hours. The whole day, you won't see another white person. There's only Filipino people. Okay, that's not true. I saw one white guy. The entire time I was there for 2 weeks, I saw one white guy come up to me. And I was just walking along. This like dirt path, just chilling. And this car drove by and then it stopped. And then it backed up and then it rolled down its window. And this like Australian dude popped out. He said, "Hey, what's up, mate?" And I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" Thinking like, oh, it's another white guy. I just walked over. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And he was like, "You know, I own this shop over here." And we were talking for a while. And he was like, "Hey, you know, I live up on that hill over there. It's like, you ever want to come and get a drink, you know, just come by." Like, that's how rare white people are. It's like when one white person saw another white person, they're like, "Come hang out with me. You know, I live right there." It's just such a funny thing because it wouldn't happen here. Like if I just walk up to someone, I'm like, "Hey, I live up there. You should come by." It'd be really creepy, but like, it's just, we're so rare there. You know, everywhere I walked, I felt like I was like a celebrity. I was like, "Oh, hey, people are looking at me." I don't know if that's good or bad, but feels good. Did you know pure white teeth are not natural? USDA. That's true. Yeah, for sure. Because it's bone. It's the color of your bone, and bone isn't necessarily pure white. Yeah, I completely agree. It's an interesting thing to think about. It's very interesting in my country, women with nice legs, thighs, and butts are considered attractive, but in the U.S., girls question if their butt looks fat. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy, you know, because like people are thinking, oh, you got to have a thigh gap, which means you got to, you know, some people, you got to starve yourself and be anorexic to get a thigh gap. But then there's people thinking, oh, you got to have thick body, you know, you got to have, yo, that girl's got cake. I hear people say all the time, like, what kind of cake does she have? And I'm realizing they're talking about her butt, like she got a big butt. And I was like, oh, is that what cake is? And so like, you want a big butt, but you want a thigh gap? Like, you want an impossible woman now, male people. I don't know, I get frustrated, but I understand that. It makes sense. It makes sense. Beauty standards are usually unattainable. Sun tanning is so bad for you. Yeah, for your skin, it's incredibly bad for you. It's cancer, you get skin cancer. It's incredibly bad for you. Another scandal. People were butthurt because Irene read a feminist book. Oh, people must have been really butthurt then. It's sold as whitening, but mostly brightening, like reducing scars and uneven skin tone. Oh, okay, so maybe that's what the mask was more about. What's up, Allie? I don't try to tan because I always get burnt, so I don't want to risk it. I get burnt too. I gotta be very careful and go very slow. The extent people will go to be beautiful. That's true though. In Indonesia, it considered inappropriate if females showed their legs or body in public. Yeah, it's different, what would you call that? It isn't beauty standards as much as it is cultural behavioral standards and what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. Can't tan, I just burn easily. Gorgeous, beautiful big eyes. Yeah, Resolution Beauty, she's a beautiful woman, for sure. So are you, Jesse. Very beautiful. Okay, so here we got chocolate cake. All the cakes. Yo, that's amazing. She's got all the cakes. Body standards change all the time. It's useless to change yourself to fit. I believe personally in just being the best version of you can be. You know, whatever you have to work with, be the best you can be. I'm a really skinny guy. I'm skin and bones. Like, it'd be impossible for me to look like, I don't know, like Channing Tatum and Magic Mike. Like, he's like 200 pounds of cut muscle. It'd be tough for me to get there. I'd have to like get steroid supplements. I'd have to be working out 5 days a week for hours every day to even get close to that. For me and my genetics, it's easiest for me to just be me, to be skinny guy. But I also want to be healthy, so yeah, I still try to go running and stay active and stuff. Yeah, like if you were to see me freshman year of high school, I look like a completely different person. I mean, obviously because I was younger, but more so because I didn't have the glasses and my hair, I never did my hair. It's just like, I look like, I'd say a 3 out of 10, a 4 out of 10. Like, I look like a 4 out of 10. And then I discovered skincare because I started getting acne, so I got really into that. And then I started using, you know, different hair care products, and I realized you can style your hair different ways. And then, you know, my eyesight started getting really bad, so I got glasses. And then after a while, I started just like trying to improve until like eventually I'm like, yo, I'm like a 5 or 6 out of 10. This is great. And if I didn't, like if you saw me just come out of the shower, you know, with like no anything, well, obviously, like, forget the whole clothing thing. Like I'm in a towel in this example. I'm in a towel. It's not inappropriate. I gotta explain the hypothetical. Like I'm someone that doesn't look good. I'm someone that has to like have effort to look decent. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Just, you know, to do the best you can do. We love a metrosexual. Yeah, that's a good example. Like, I'm a metrosexual guy. I'm a metrosexual. Metrosexual just means, it has nothing to do with your sexuality. It just means that you're someone who's into taking care of yourself. Like, I don't go overboard, but it's something that I like to do. Josh, do you like animals? What's your favorite animal and why? Animals are great. Animals are wonderful. Favorite animal? I don't know if I have a favorite animal. I love dogs. I'm a dog guy. I'm not really a cat guy. I'm a dog guy. Some favorite dogs. That's tough. I love corgis. Corgis are pretty great. What kind of dogs do you guys like? I like corgis. Because my dogs, well, my family's dog, it's Jack Jack. So he's a Pembroke Welsh Corgi. Pembroke Welsh Corgi. Yeah, it looks like Jack Jack. Says Jack Jack. He's a corgi. He's adorable. I'm a huge fan. I would probably get a corgi like this just for my son. A tri-corgi, like a tricolor corgi. They're adorable. I also like the, what are they called? Alaskan Malamutes. Beautiful dogs. Alaskan Malamutes. I just feel bad if I was in hot weather. Like, I know they want colder weather. But yeah, like a husky. You know, beautiful dogs. But yeah. So I know after the live stream's over, like if people are watching this tomorrow, for example, I think there's a feature now that YouTube just updated where they can reread the chat. Like, I don't need to put this up. Like, I could hide this, I think, and they could still see the chat somewhere. I think that's a new feature. But I mostly keep this up just so that you guys know what chat I'm looking at. You know, sometimes I'll scroll back and I'll be like, oh, what are you guys talking about? So you know which one I'm looking at. Boston Terriers, miniature colleagues, corgis. Pomsky. Do you know that the last white rhino in the world has died? Wow, really? I did not know that. Let me look that up. You said the last white rhino in the entire world is now dead? Dang. Are there any other rhinos that are still alive? Or was this the last rhino period and now there's no more rhinos, is my question. Like, I'm guessing white rhino is a type of rhino and now that's extinct. Are there still rhinos, or is it just the white rhino? You know, I'm going to say something pretty controversial here. I don't really care about species going extinct. I don't. And it's not because, it sounds bad to say that, but let me explain. There are so many species, thousands of species that go extinct every day just naturally. Like, if humans didn't exist, for example, we just were removed from the food cycle, we've killed all of ourselves with nukes. There are thousands of species of things that go extinct completely without us, on their own. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should get obsessed with saving every little species, because there's a natural cycle with things. And when some species die out, they're supposed to die out, and other species are birthed. It's a natural circle of life. For example, what's it? Cockroaches. Like, most people don't like cockroaches. You see a cockroach in your house, it's a bad thing. People step on cockroaches, they get them out, like, cockroaches are nasty. Get this, there are literally thousands of species of cockroaches. Thousands. I think there's over 3,000 species of cockroach in just the US. 3,000 species of cockroaches in just the US. What if one of those species goes extinct? Who cares? There's still 2,999 species of cockroaches. That's too many cockroaches. I think there should be one species, maybe. If I had a world, there wouldn't be cockroaches on it. So I'm not obsessed with, like, oh, we gotta save this endangered species. It's like, well, how endangered is that whole entire cockroach, you know? Or is it the very last cockroach ever? And if they died tomorrow, what were the repercussions of that? Is it really a big deal? So I don't really get into that whole thing where everyone needs to save everyone type of thing. I am against things where like a whole species is hunted to extinction, like lions or leopards, you know, beautiful animals that are running around in a lot of Africa and different parts of the world. They're hunted to extinction. That's different. That's like man-made extinction. And we might have a world one day where there's no more lions, period. There just aren't any left because we've killed them all. That's something that I'm personally like, yeah, we need lions. I want lions. Lions are cool. I want to live in a world where there's lions running around the wild. But I'm not about saving a species of cockroach when there's over 3,000. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to say that there's a natural cycle to things. There's thousands and thousands of species, and some of them die just because they're supposed to, and they're not even man-caused, you know? So let them go peacefully. Let them go gracefully. We don't need to freak out and create a new habitat for them and F up the whole nature cycle. All right, what have you guys said about this? That was a pretty controversial thing to say. I got to be careful with what I say. But that's what I believe, and I want to hear what you guys say. The last male white rhino. Yep, apparently the live chat replay. King Cook is my favorite. I'm biased because I work in a dog salon. Alaskan Malamutes are so high maintenance. They are super cute. I bet they are high maintenance, for sure. With coats like that, but they are cute. The last male white rhino. I think the last male white rhino passed away recently. The last male rhino, I think, head is near threatened. So it's not threatened yet, it's near threatened. It's like, are they threatened? I'm not sure. Let's check in a few years. It's natural selection. When you're the last, you're the last. Very true. I agree. Okay. If it harms the environment, then it's important in my opinion. I agree. I agree. I am pro-environment. You know, like that was something that, and this is what I believe as a Christian. I believe in the Bible, and the Bible said in the very beginning when God made the animals and God made man, Adam and Eve, he told them, basically speaking to all mankind, he's saying, you guys are in charge of this now. Like, you're in charge of this. Take care of it. Like, make sure everything's good. You know, don't hunt the lions into extinction. You know, so there's no more left except for in a zoo, there's like or a museum, there's an old carcass of one that's been stuffed. You know, don't mess up the earth so much that we get out of whack with the natural cycles. I don't know what I'm not an environmentalist. All I know is that we were told by the man upstairs to take care of everything. You know, to take care of it. Be a steward. I think that's the word it was used in the King James, like be a steward of the land. But I'm no environmental Nazi. I'm no environmental freak that's like saying, oh, save that leaf, save that plant, save that fly. I'm not like that. That's going overboard. They need to reel it back a little. This is me reeling it back. It's like you cast out the line and you reel it back. They need to reel it back. They're getting a little out of control. But when it's from human greed, that's not okay. I think it's more than the actual extinction itself, more human impact sort of thing. Literally gasp out loud when you said you're talking about cockroaches. I agree. My friend wants pandas to get extinct because they're too expensive to maintain. Wait, what? Too expensive to maintain alive? Then don't maintain them. Let pandas go do their thing out in the wild. Can all the cockroaches go extinct? I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay if jellyfish went extinct, but I don't know what the impact of that would be on the rest of the food cycle, because where in the food chain are cockroaches? Like, who's eating the cockroaches when the cockroaches die? You know, like, what part do they have to play in the food chain? Because you could be like, oh, I want the cockroaches to die, but if they're the main source of food to some of these termites, the termites might die from that, and then the termites might be a way that we're actually aerating our soil, so forests might die from that, and then before you know it, you realize you've killed thousands of acres of forest from getting rid of one cockroach. You just don't know. You gotta like look into that stuff and know what you're talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about, so that's why I just try to stay general and use common sense approach to wisdom. I love animals, but I hate flies and mosquitoes. A lot of people only care about pandas because they're cute. Points to South America, call it Africa. Yeah, I literally pointed to South America and said Africa. I meant this. Come on, Josh, come on. I was home teached. Oh, sorry, I just like skipped past a bunch of y'all. They have no purpose. Well, then I'd be okay with them going extinct. More confusing to the new generation, that's true. Only two, agree, hello. Well, I am not a cockroach advocate, but I think biological diversity is very valuable and worth conserving, especially because we can discover so many new biological mechanisms from. I agree, and I think that's a very intelligent thought, thinking about the implications that biological diversity or diverse life on this world has for us, because a new up-and-coming field of engineering, for example, is bio-inspired engineering. It's pretty cool. Basically, in a nutshell, this is what it is. We look at nature, we learn from it, and then we create technology from that. For example, the helicopter wings that they've been developing recently have been developed by looking at the honeycomb structure of actual beehives. And they found that the honeycomb structure is very thin and light, and if you reproduce it the same way, it can have great mechanical benefits. Let me look at some. I want to see what happens if I Google this. This should be a safe thing to Google. Bio-inspired design. Looking at the pattern on shark fins, and this pattern that they found on the shark fins probably used in a really interesting application. Like the wings on the backs of, what are they called? Dragonflies? Is dragonflies? Yeah. Dragonfly wings. Dragonfly wings. Like these dragonfly wings are a miracle of creation. They're so light and thin and strong and fast. They've started using these too to design super light, strong airplane wings, and also helicopter wings as well. So it's really interesting. We would, if there weren't any dragonflies, we wouldn't have been able to learn from their structures and created things like the dragonfly helicopter wings, which are like the lightest and 3 times stronger than traditional wings. So you're right, to come back full circle, if we had like only one type of insect and one lion and one whatever, you would lose all of the ideas we can get when we're trying to invent new things. I think that made sense. I nerd out a lot, all the time, and it makes sense in my head. But the challenge is getting it out. Realize when I said very human-centric, it's incredible how much we can learn from the most random organisms and the way they adapt. Absolutely. The things that pandas don't want to. Pandas don't want to reproduce. Humans are obsessed with them because they're cute, and it will not let them die. That's funny. Well, all right. Like maybe, and I know it's a terrible thing to say, but like maybe pandas were like supposed to go extinct. Like maybe they really couldn't survive for more than a few hundred years or whatever run the pandas had. Like maybe that was over. Maybe that was like an ebb and flow of the universe. I know it's a really like new agey thing to say, but maybe they were supposed to go. But like we love them so much because of how cute and fluffy they are that we've been like resuscitating them and like keeping them alive. And maybe that's unnatural. We do plenty of unnatural things. Whether it's good or bad is completely objective, subjective to what your personal values are, your own value system. I just jumped to the bottom. Thinking about this makes me go into existential crisis mode. Sorry, we can change the subject. Looked it up real quick and yes, same do. I think I got a text. Let's see from who. Oh, Progressive. I'm not sponsored by Progressive, but I saved like 50% on my car insurance by switching to Progressive. I just want to let you guys know that. Anyway. See, spiders are a tough debate because on one hand, they're spiders, but on the other hand, if they go extinct, mosquitoes would take over. Yeah, like with all of the different insects that these spiders are catching in their webs and eating, they're helpful. Looked it up real quick, and yes, they do. Leatherback sea turtles eat them and have special coating and protect their mouths and throats. Really interesting. Fortunate for the loss of oxygen, it wouldn't deal with giant insects. Yeah, I mean, like I'll hear, like imagine where these furniture stores are getting all of their wood. You know, like IKEA. IKEA is this massive furniture industry, and they're probably consuming, you know, thousands of tons of pulp every single day with all the different products they have. So they'll use tree farms and stuff, so they'll grow an entire forest and tear it down, then grow it again and tear it down and whatnot. Or they'll just take over an entire forest that wasn't even grown for that, like not a tree forest, maybe just a regular forest. Deforestation is a massive issue, but not for the issues that people might lead you to believe it is. And it's not always a bad thing. But I don't know, like I asked this one guy, he was talking about deforestation this and deforestation that and how it's so terrible and terrible. I asked him like, well, why is it bad? You know, just questioning him. And he was like, oh, you know, we get all our oxygen from trees. If we didn't have any trees, we wouldn't have any oxygen. We would all die. And that's actually not even true. We get most of our air from underwater plants. Isn't that crazy? I didn't know that. I figured that out in my research. Most of the air we breathe is from underwater plants. So that, you know, that kind of, that whole argument. But there are reasons. Like, the different mudslides you see when there's like crazy torrential rainstorms and then these mudslides happen and cover an entire city and all these people die. That's terrible, but a lot of times that happens from deforestation because these trees used to be there with deep roots in the soil kind of holding everything together, you know, like holding all the soil in place. And once all the trees have been removed, it's basically just soil, and then when it gets wet, it slides downhill because gravity, and then people die. So there are other implications of deforestation that actually have a big deal and a big impact, but air is not one of them. The roots are needed for stability. Exactly. The Lorax. Like the Lorax was one of the most like anti-deforestation movies ever. That was kind of the extreme, you know, obviously. It was a huge liberal movie. You know, it was, the whole thing had an agenda. I don't think it's always bad to cut down a tree, but I think sometimes it can be. Gotta head out for some, finish some work. See you now, cat. Yep. I live in a state where mudslides happen pretty often whenever it rains heavily. Terrified of the ocean, grateful to stay as far away as much as possible. Bye, Neobean. Neobean, that's a new one. Exactly, Josh. Like, for example, Japan's bullet trains are an example of biomimicry of the kingfisher's beak. A birdie. Really? That is fascinating. I did not know that. The kingfisher's beak. That's what the bullet train was designed after. That is fascinating. Huh. Yeah, exactly. We learned so much from God's creation. It's almost like he did that for a reason. It's interesting. On the thought about a lion's going extinct, aren't there only 15 to 20 Siberian tigers left in the wild? It's sad to think about such a beautiful animal disappearing. And that's what I meant. And that's why I use that as kind of like the case study against extinction, is saying lions. You know, like these lions, the Siberian tigers, they're going extinct, but mostly because of hunting. At least that's what I've been led to believe by the media. I'm not sure if that's right, but I've been led to believe that hunters are hunting them into extinction from wanting their pelts, or just big game hunters, people that enjoy hunting. But yeah, sound like my science teacher. I am positive that I have very, very different views from your science teacher. But we are talking about science. Science! There's two views with everything, two extremes, I should say. There's the one, like the Lorax side of things. It's like you should never cut down a tree ever, because if you do, the world will end. And then there's the other side of things where people are like, cut down a tree, it makes no difference. You know, we're supposed to run this world the way we want it, even if it's into the ground. I don't think either of those sides are right. I don't think the left or the right extreme are right. I think it always depends, and it's somewhere in the middle. And sometimes it's on one side and sometimes it's another. It completely depends on the situation. For sure. I didn't realize Wilkes was about deforestation in my child literature class. You gotta be careful. You know, all these movies have agendas. A lot of insects, because the amount of plants and trees is called Garden State for a reason. Garden State. It's annoying because they find a way into your house. That's true. That happens in Jersey. Peer-reviewed journals are, my friend. They are. Now, it's a step above just standard research that's very biased. But most peer reviews also have a bias in and of themselves. In fact, these peers will only allow certain things through that they already agree with. Like, for example, any scientist who believes in creation, believes in a God, you know, that we were created, that we didn't evolve, they're not allowed to be published in any scientific journal. You know, the whole board just says if you're a creationist and you're not an evolutionist, you're not allowed to publish anything. We're not agreeing with your work. Doesn't matter. They don't even take a look at the work. They don't take a look at the data. They don't see what their findings were. They don't see their research or their scientific method. They dismiss it all and say, because you believe there's a God, we're not even going to look at what you have to say. I think that's wrong. Whether there's a God or not, that's kind of irrelevant for science. What they should say is, okay, what did you do? What did you find? And let's look it over. But there's a huge bias. And I think with bias comes a loss of opportunity. You become myopic. You miss a lot. Very much agree, Josh. I don't agree with everyone's extremes, but I guess everyone has something they're passionate about and support the extremes. I agree. I think for politics, for example, I'm a Republican and all my friends are Democrats. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, we still are very good friends, but I've come to believe that it's not necessarily one's right or the other's wrong. I know this is kind of like, you know, stay with me here. Stay with me here. I'm still a Republican, but stay with me here. You could either be on the super right side thinking I'm an ultra conservative, you know, Bible thumping, Trump loving guy, or you could be on the complete other side and be like, you know, I'm totally against Trump. I hate war. I hate international policy and drilling oil and everything the conservatives have ever had to do with things. You'd be on either side of things. I don't think either of those are usually right. And I don't think anything in the middle is necessarily right. I think that they both need to be working in harmony. It's asking the wrong question, asking who's right and who's wrong. That's not the right question to ask. It's a stupid question. I think the right question to ask is, how can you leverage those two to work in harmony? Because if they work in harmony, you can really accomplish beautiful things. Because you might need someone on the left side to be doing something someday, and you might need someone on the right side. It depends on what your country's going through in that moment or what the need is. Like, for example, what if Russia decides to declare war on us tomorrow? They have like the second biggest military in the world. They have nukes that would destroy our entire East Coast. They have the biggest nukes in the world. So if Russia decides to declare war on us, we need some right-wing folk to come in and say, all right, let's fund the military, let's strategize, let's put up our defenses, let's do everything like that. We don't need the left wing at that moment. But we also need funding for these programs. We need funding for Medicare, Medicaid. We need funding for inner city programs to get less privileged people opportunities that they never would have had because they're born into unfortunate situations. So you need left-wing people to be in there making programs and doing things. You know, conservatives would just be like, oh, you know, they deserve to be where they're at. You know, they just need to work hard and blah, 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 blah. We just need to fund our military. It's like, well, no, you need a balance. You need a balance. And it's not that everyone needs to be balanced. It's that you can be whatever you are, but you need to work in harmony with everyone around you. Does that make sense? I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but I really don't think it's that Republicans are wrong or Republicans are right and liberals are wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like a left and right, good and evil, one's right and one's wrong. I think some of them are needed with specific situations and some others are needed with specific certain situations. Does that make sense? I've never said this out loud, so I don't know how I'm coming across right now. I just really don't think it's about who's right and who's wrong. I think that people really need to be in harmony with working around who they're with. To work together, I'm going to call it harmony hands. The harmony hands. This is the harmony hands, guys. It's when you have the one extreme side and the other extreme side, and neither of them are saying they're right or wrong. They're both just working in harmony with each other. These are harmony hands. If anyone starts picking a fight with me tomorrow about anything, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna go. And I'm gonna do this for hours, however long it takes. I'm gonna just keep doing this. I'm gonna lock eyes with them. I'm not gonna break eye contact. I'm just gonna keep doing it until they eventually walk away. We'll see how long it takes until they get tired, but I'll just keep doing this. It's amazing. I am making sense. Okay, cool. I know that's like a little bit controversial to say because people want to believe that they're right and they're always right, and then everyone else that disagrees with them is wrong. That's what we like to think in those terms, black and white. We like to think on right and wrong, and there's got to be one right answer, and we got to just figure out what that is, and we got to all believe it. You know, and that's just not true. It's just not true. Sometimes it is. Like, for example, murder is wrong. But what if you had Hitler? You know, and Hitler's just all about, you know, conquering the world and killing all the Jews. Is it all right to kill that guy? I would personally say no. I think it's okay to kill Hitler. But I think murder of innocent is wrong. So what I'm trying to say is that, like, people like to think of these absolute truths, like murder is always wrong. Well, what if someone came into your house and they killed your father, they killed your mom, they killed your sister and the brother, they're about to kill your baby, and then you have a gun and you can stop them. You can either not do anything and let him murder everyone, or you can kill him. I think murder is okay in that situation of self-defense. So there's a lot of people that like to say murder is always wrong. It's a bad thing. If we could not murder anyone, that's the perfect world. But we're in an imperfect world, and sometimes you need it. You need something like that. So, yeah, exactly. Absolute rights. Don't believe in absolute rights. There are only a few things in this world that I believe are absolute truths. And they're few and far between. Most things, I would say it depends. Think you have separate religion and science? Here's an interesting one. Let me check this out. It's crazy that people think you have to separate religion and science. I'm Muslim and I love science, and I don't think you should have to disregard your faith, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Exactly. I've never found a conflict with science and my faith as a Christian. I'm not really an advocate of war, but there are so many advancements that came from the desperations of war. Yeah, I mean, who's pro-war? I hope no one's pro-war. It's like war is a necessary evil sometimes. You know, like it's just a tough thing. And I don't know where I stand with a lot of these things. Like, I have my opinions, but if people that knew what they were talking about started questioning me, I'd probably find out very soon that I don't know a whole lot. I'll give you an example, like the war in Iraq, for example. Like, there's so many things happening with that. I remember where I was when 9/11 happened. You know, September 11th, when the two towers were hit by a terrorist attack. Do you guys remember? Like, how many of you were old enough that you remember where you were seeing that happen? Most people didn't see the first tower hit, but most people saw the second tower get hit because it happened sometime after, and there was already coverage and there was live feed. But how many people remember when the Twin Towers got hit by that terrorist attack? I was at home because I was homeschooled up until high school. So I was with my family when that happened. Dad was at work. You were 4. Yeah, most people were in school. I'm the same age as you, and I was in school. Gotcha. I was with my grandmother, but I was 4 months. Wow. Okay. But yeah, so what happened with that? That was a terrorist attack. Was it Al-Qaeda? Al-Qaeda, they hijacked an airplane full of just regular passengers, and they flew it into the World Trade Centers, and they killed a bunch of people. What do you do with that? Like, do you fight back? How do you fight back against terrorism? Well, I guess long story short, we ended up going to Iraq and trying to find more terrorists and kill them. And there's a lot of different theories like, oh, it's probably because we wanted oil and they had oil, so we wanted oil. I don't know all the fine details. That probably was a motivator, but I thought a lot of it was because we were upset. And by we, I mean America as a whole were upset that terrorists killed a bunch of people, and we wanted to make sure that didn't happen again. So I don't know where the line is with that. It's tough. That's a tough one. You know, we go over there and we try to find them terrorists, and we try to take them out. But it's just a messy thing. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. I'm glad I'm not president with that. A lot of people got mad at George W. Bush for going into Iraq. I could say right now, that was not his fault, because that was a very popular war. America as a whole was all they were all telling Bush, you gotta go into Iraq. Like, it was a very popular war. He just did what was popular, and then it became very unpopular after a while. Was it kind of like Vietnam, I guess? I don't pretend to know all the intricacies of history, but I guess Vietnam became a very unpopular war, and we pulled out of it eventually. But it kind of made more terrorists. See, and there's that other side of things, like when you fight back, you know, then they have a cause and they're martyrs, and then it starts breeding more hate. So I just don't know what the answer is with those types of things. It's just a tough situation. Murder in the unlawful premeditated killing of a home invader is self-defense. One is legal and the other is not. I agree. And so that's what we do. We as a society come together and we say, what do our morals tell us? Where are our values? And we say, well, we believe as a whole that premeditated murder for revenge or whatnot, that should be illegal. So we should make a law about that. And then if it's in defense, you know, following these stipulations under these conditions in this circumstance, it should be legal. So it's tough. It's really tough. And it's constantly changing. Law is constantly changing. You know, like when we first came to this country, 300, 400 years ago, when we came to this country, and we started setting up shop and developing and growing as a country, and America started happening for the first time. It used to be a law that you were allowed to have a gun to defend yourself. But now, with like the school shootings and stuff like that, everyone's saying no one should have a gun. Let's take them all away. You know, so laws are changing, opinions are changing. And I don't think necessarily that having guns or not having guns, neither one of those are necessarily the right answer all the time. I think that answer, the right answer, can change depending on the circumstance. Like, I'm trying to see things from the perspective, okay, so if we take away all the guns, will that make gun crime go down? Because if it does, it kind of makes sense, right? If you take away all the guns and gun crime goes down, it seems like it was a good move, right? But the truth is that gun crime actually goes up when there's gun control, and that's been proven multiple times, like with the AR case. So it's really difficult. You got to look at what the impact is of these implications and figure out what makes the murder rate go down. But I guess it kind of makes sense from like a logical standpoint because I mean, if you were to require everyone to turn in their guns tomorrow, like if Trump said it's an international or not, it's a national law, everyone has to turn in their guns. Do you think like the criminals are going to be like, oh, darn it, now I got to go turn in my stolen weapons that have the serial numbers filed off? No, they're going to keep all their guns, all the organized crime, all the criminals, all that. They're going to keep their guns, and then law-abiding citizens, like my grandfather who owns a rifle, he'll turn his in because he has to, and now he can't defend himself. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I don't know if one answer is right or wrong, But I think it probably depends on the situation, and it depends on what's happening now. Same, I am a free thinker, I think, because I was never brought up with a religion. It's interesting. While I have my stance on topics, I'll never get into an argument or spout out statements on them unless I was sure I could back it up. It's a wise thing to do. And if no one has a gun, everyone dies. Because criminals will absolutely not follow. That's exactly what the point was. And they've done that before. Like, and there are examples, for example, in France or whatever, where they're not allowed to own guns. They have skyrocketed crime with knives. And now there's this huge movement to get rid of all knives. I'm not even making this up. There's knife recalls, there's banning of knives, there's background check for certain blades, there's these massive returns where the government says, we'll pay you for your knives, you got to come bring them in, it's illegal. And then they get these big dumpsters full of knives because they think knives are causing the problem. It's just lunacy. It's lunacy because men will find a way. Like what Christian, the first murder ever was Cain killing his brother Abel with a rock. You know, I mean, cavemen didn't need knives or guns. People will kill people. I don't personally believe that guns are killing people as much as people are killing people. So it's a difficult thing to look at. But I do understand the logic. I understand the logic because France was thinking, if we take away guns, gun crime will stop. And it didn't. It slowed down a little in the beginning, but it didn't stop altogether. Knife crime skyrocketed. So violent crime actually increased overall. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You can't take away knives. Well, what if you did? Okay, so you take away all guns, you take away all knives. What do you have left? How does someone kill another person? You could run them over with your car. You know, there's people in New York, there was that terrorist attack where a dude ran over like dozens of people. He's killing all these people with his car. What do? You say, okay, now we got to take away all the cars, run background check all these cars. You take away the guns, you take away the knives, you take away the cars. Like, what's left? Okay, well, then there's chemical warfare. There's a lot of different chemicals that you can mix together that you can get at Walmart and make a bomb. They do this with the marathon, the Boston Marathon bomb, and making pressure cookers. Well, now do pressure cookers become illegal? Does bleach become illegal? So where does it stop? And I understand the logic, but I think the problem is inward. It's not outward. I think the problem is with the human, and the problem is not with the item they use, if that makes sense. And that's a pretty controversial thing for me to say. So if you have a different opinion, I completely respect it because you probably have very good reasons for believing what you believe. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. You might even convince me. I'm just going off of whatever the most relevant information I've found. But I'd rather be stabbed by a knife than shot with a gun because there's more of a higher chance of me surviving than being stabbed than being shot. That's a good point. So you personally might rather be stabbed than to be shot. You know, I don't know what I'd rather have. I'd rather have neither of those things happen, but I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Someone mod this, please. Guns are still made to kill. Okay. That's true. That's true. Guns are made to shoot. Let's see. They're also made to protect, I guess. You know, like people at the DMZ in South Korea. You know, you have South Koreans and North Koreans lined up and they've got guns to make sure no one comes in or no one leaves in the North Korean case. Baseball bats. Yeah, so what do? Nothing wrong with war just because of government. But how many people can you kill with a knife versus a rifle before being stopped? See, I asked the same question, and apparently there have been mass knife attacks, like one in China where a guy was in a crowded train and he ended up killing dozens of people with just a knife before being stopped. I got to bring this up. Yeah, there was one in Japan too. Here we go. I see these on my feed. I just need to back this up with this. There's two major news outlets in America. There's CNN and there's Fox News. One's Republican, one's Democrat. And one is very Republican, one is very Democrat. So you have Fox and CNN. Those both say very different things. They might cover the same story with completely different biases. So which one's right? So what I do, I actually, on my phone here, and I've done this for quite a while, I have two news apps there in the middle. I keep CNN right next to Fox News. I'd read both of those every single day when I wake up and when I go to bed, and sometimes during lunch. Multiple times a day, I'll read both of them because I want to hear what both of the biases are. Let's see, how many people can you kill with an... So I heard this on Fox News, that there was a, and this wasn't even covered by CNN, that there were 33 dead and 130 people injured in this knife-killing spree in Japan. It's crazy. This happened. CNN didn't even cover it, because it would have made that look bad. Fox News talked about it. Apparently, you can kill a lot of people. 130 injured, 33 dead from a China knife-wielding spree. And this isn't just one thing. This happens frequently all over the world. So, to answer your question, Cam, you might be surprised. Now, I'm saying things coming from more of a Republican point of view. You could look at more of a Democrat point of view and say, well, 33 people, the number probably would have been higher if he had a gun. I don't know, maybe. I'm not going into hypotheticals, but that might be true. Maybe if that guy had a gun, he would have killed more people. But the point is, people can still go on mass killing sprees with any weapon. So so it's interesting. Let's just make humans illegal, problem solved. There we go. We figured it out, people. Make humans illegal. Have you guys seen Minority Report? Minority Report? Let me look that up. It's an older movie, Tom Cruise. It's about people who can see into the future and predict crimes. I love this movie. It's such a classic. 2002. Minority Report. And he's got those gloves, with they can make the things go around on the screen. I'm waiting to get one of those in my house because that's the coolest thing ever. So he's got this huge screen and he's got these gloves on. He can move stuff around just by using the gloves. It's freaking awesome. I'm still waiting for that technology. Anyway, as a student, though, I strongly believe that there needs to be a restriction on guns because they're meant to kill, and they kill 10 people in a matter of minutes. I agree. And there are restrictions on guns, and I think those are good things. There's a lot of restrictions with background checks, fingerprinted, waiting periods. You can't get automatic weapons. You can't buy a certain amount at a certain time. It's still insane how a kid can go into a store and buy a rifle to kill more kids. It's still insane how a kid... So I'm scared to go in school because I feel like I could be killed by some psycho with a gun. Me personally, I wish that the teachers in my high school, I wish that the teachers had guns. I wish they had a cop walks around with a gun. I think that our teachers should have those, at least the ones that want to defend the students. Because if I'm a school shooter, well, me just saying that, I know now that after I upload this, YouTube is going to scan this. It's going to scan all the words as it does, and it's going to see school shooting and blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to immediately probably demonetize it and maybe even block my video for review. But anyway, I'll deal with that. If I was a school shooter, I would pick a school that has a gun-free zone, which is most schools. But there are schools in Texas and there's schools around the U.S. where the teachers actually do carry guns, and there are no school shootings there. Because people aren't stupid. They're like, I'm not going to go shoot up a school where the teachers are packing heat. So it's interesting. These gun crimes that happen, these mass shootings happen in gun-free zones. They don't happen in zones where there are guns. I'm scared to go to school. So I'd be scared to go to a school that doesn't have guns. I know it sounds crazy, but I'd want the teachers to have some way to protect us. It's a different way of thinking. I understand the way you're thinking, and that makes sense. So I'm just presenting a different perspective. I'm not saying either of us are right or wrong. Guns are made to kill. I think personally they should make it harder to own a gun and make it more about the person who can own it. I agree. And they're actually doing that right now. They're making it more difficult for people with a history of mental illness, which I think is really smart. Knives are easier to conceal. That's definitely true. I still don't understand why automatic guns are sold to the public. They're not, Lexi. I don't know what country you're in, but in the US, automatic guns are not sold to the public. They've been banned years ago. Like I said, weapons of war should not be bought by the public. What about knives? If you say that, what about knives? Funny how when someone dies from a car crash, they blame the person control of the car, but with the shooting, they blame the gun and not the person holding it. Allie, I 100% agree. And that's what they call a fallacy. I guess hypocrisy in that argument. But who do you blame when it's a driverless car? Because that just happened the other day. I think it was somewhere in California, I think. But it was in the US, regardless. There was a driverless car, an Uber driver who used one of the driverless cars, and it hit a pedestrian. And the pedestrian died. So now it's this huge case saying it's the first driverless car that's killed someone. What do we do? Or should we stop driverless cars? Should we make them safer? Like, what do we need to do? I personally think that you're going to get auto accidents no matter what. And I'm all for driverless technology. The one thing I'm concerned of is hacking, because what if someone hacked the main system of, let's say, Ford Chryslers, and now Ford Chryslers. Let's say the Ford Taurus gets hacked, and all their driverless cars in the future get hacked, and they all go off a cliff. That'd be really bad. I don't think it needs to be perfect. I don't think driverless cars need to be perfect and completely safe. I think they just need to be safer than the human death rate to be a thing. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I missed where I was. But really, how often do mass stabbings happen, at least compared to shootings? Well, you'd have to look in France, because violent crime overall is happening with knife wounds. So they're not so much concerned about the guns. They've kind of shifted. They've made guns illegal. Now they're all shifting to knives. Violent crime remained the same. So the total amount of violent crime was pretty stable throughout that. But don't trust me. You got to look this up for yourself. Like, don't just hear what I'm saying and be like, good, violent crime stayed the same. Nah, that's probably wrong. It might be. The website I was looking at might have been fake or something. You got to look it up for yourself. Everything we talk about, you got to verify it for yourself. But a gun can kill, leaving more than a knife. Wait, but a gun can kill, leaving more than a knife in less time. Well, a knife never runs out of bullets either, I guess. So it's just different ways to think about it. But if guns are illegal, then knife crime goes up and knife stabbings occur more often. Yeah, we've seen that happen. So there is another way to look at things. Whoever's watching this right now, this live stream, whatever your opinion is, I think there's probably some good counter arguments for everything we believe. Whether you're pro or anti-gun, pro or anti-control or regulation, I think there's good arguments on both sides. But the real question is, what decreases the violent crime, the total amount of violent crime? Guns shouldn't be obtained so easily. That's the real problem. They're actually not obtained very easily. Like, for example, for me, if I wanted to own a handgun, I would have to do an extensive background check, get thumbprinted, get my bullets ballistically thumbprinted. Then I'd have to take a gun safety class, and then I'd have to go through all the paperwork, and I'd have to huge long waiting period. And there is a lot of effort for me to own one handgun. Crazy amount of effort. But they're very easily obtained illegally, if you wanted to get one illegally. So criminals get guns very easily, but law-abiding citizens like me with no criminal history, well, I've got some speeding tickets, but no real criminal history, it makes it very difficult. Like, I don't want to kill anyone. The only reason I would want to own a gun is to be able to help defend my family one day. Like, if I have a family, I think it's important for me to be able to defend them, just in case some wacko comes in and wants to mess some stuff up. I want to be able to protect them. That's the only reason I'd want a gun. Probably never give up their guns. It's asking more regulations, getting rid of machine guns for the average citizen. Machine guns are illegal, Arlene. And we've seen this a few times in the comments. I don't blame y'all, because CNN gets this wrong all the time. I just saw the other day them saying automatic weapons need to be banned. They are banned. Look it up, right? Google it. I dare. Google it. US has completely banned automatic weapons for years now. You can't get one. So, I don't know. There's a lot of misunderstandings, I think, with this. Yeah, that's true. I also think it need to be much more restrictions on them. I've seen the Minority Report. Yes, someone's seen Minority Report. Because it's too easy to get a gun, I could probably walk into a store right now and get one if I'm underage. That's not true at all. I don't know what country you live in. So you could definitely be in a different country where that is true. But in the US, you can't get a gun being underage. You have to be a certain age, and you have to show ID, and you got to fill out forms, and you got to be put into the system. There is a lot of effort that goes into that. You can't just walk into a store and get a gun. That's just not true. It'd be easier for me, but it's not true. It is a really good movie. I haven't seen one like that since that, which you can't say very often with movies these days. I applaud you for your efforts to thoroughly view the news. I personally don't read news as often, although I try to be partisan. It's tough. It's so tough to do because every news outlet is incredibly biased these days. The Republican ones are way too Republican. The Democrat ones are way too Democrat. So much so, it's like reading a tabloid. It's like reading a celebrity tabloid. Like, oh, you wouldn't believe on who cheated on who these days. And they're doing that. They're like so sleazy and unprofessional. Everything's an opinion piece and not really backed up on both sides of the aisle. So the only way to really get to the truth of the matter is trying to read both and then find out what makes the most sense in the middle. It's tough. It's really tough. Minority Report, stricter laws, background checks. But here's the thing. Let's say, and there are background checks and there is a crazy amount of regulation already. Let's say you tripled it. Let's say you made it 5 times as difficult to get a gun. 5 times. Criminals, it'll be just as easy. They're still buying them illegally on the black market. They're still getting these things illegal, and that happens all the time. So it's making it difficult for law-abiding citizens to get them, and it's making it just as easy for criminals to get them. So most of the time, a law-abiding citizen is using it to defend themselves, and a criminal is using it to cause someone harm. So it's making it so people like me can't defend themselves. The people that it wouldn't be an issue if someone like me had a gun. That's the outcome of this. At least that's what I've seen. That's also what I believe as someone, I'm just thinking of common sense. I could be wrong. Someone else from a different point of view could say, well, look at it from this common sense point of view. And they might change my mind. But that's just what I believe right now. Really makes you think about how much government involvement impacts lives. Just got here. What's up, Lay Cookie? The trend now is acid attacks that terrify me because the motive is not just to physically harm but mentally scar. Exactly. It's terrible what happens with these acid attacks. It destroys someone's entire life. It's terrible. It's crazy, a teacher with a gun. It is interesting because you think about it from someone's point of view, like the person, like this comment right here, you're probably thinking, like, teachers have never had guns, so if teachers have guns, we're just going to get more crime, right? We're going to get more shootings, more of that. What would actually happen? Would that happen? Maybe. Maybe. But what we have seen in the schools, and there have been some schools who have had teachers having guns, the violent crime flatlines. It just it goes boom and it just hits 0. School shooters don't go into a school where teachers have guns. They just don't. Because they're crazy, but they're not stupid. Like the most recent shooter, the dude could still get decent grades. They looked at his report, right? He's still a relatively intelligent person to plan an insane attack. He's mentally messed up, but he would know not to go to a school where teachers have guns. So yeah, it is crazy. And in a perfect world, we wouldn't need any guns. But in this messed up world of school shooters, I think that could deter some of these school shootings from happening. And that's only my point of view. Personally, I don't agree with teachers having guns because some of the teachers have had mental illness backgrounds to class due to students. I don't want to know exactly. And that's where the mental background checks go into place. And I think that every gun owner should have a background check on their mental history. So I shouldn't laugh, but I just thought of this hypothetical where there's this kid always asking stupid questions and the teacher just loses it. And I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but I just thought that was kind of funny. I shouldn't laugh. That's not funny. Even police accidentally kill people. Imagine teachers. Well, that's why there's training. But you're right. Let's see. I think you should just be more... I think you should just be more security because I think even a teacher could have an accident that goes really bad. I agree. Accidents will always happen. That's a fact. Me personally, and this is only my opinion, I don't want to offend anyone, but me personally, I would rather have the occasional accident, like a gun misfires or something like that, than school shootings. If it's school shootings or occasional accidents, I would want the occasional accidents. But that's just me. That is only me. I've had a teacher who got prosecuted and almost snapped in class. Imagine if she had a gun. You think that she would have just like been like, I can't take this, I'm shooting everyone. Oh, maybe someone would do that. That's never happened before, but maybe it would happen for the first time. A lot of teachers have guns, by the way, in the US. It's a thing. It's becoming a thing now, but that hasn't happened yet. What if teachers were accomplices, or if a student found a way to steal a teacher's gun? Well, see, there's some guns, and this is the way it should be with teachers, where only the person holding it, who's the teacher, can actually fire it because it has a thumbprint right on the backstop. So you shoot a gun like this, you're holding the handle. I could have a picture of it. Right where your thumb is on the back of the grip, there's a fingerprint scanner. So it's only really the teacher that can fire it. But I'm not saying they should be on the person. There are these gun safes that are mounted on the wall, and they're with quarter-thick steel. The only way you get through them is if you had the pass key and your thumbprint. So in the case of like a school shooting happens, and then you know the drill, you've been in high schools, they lock all the doors, they stay away from the windows, and they all huddle together and they call 911. All the teachers pull out their weapons, they put in the key, and they put on their fingerprint scanner, and they all have heat. Now every classroom has an adult teacher with a handgun waiting for the mofo to come in. Boom, empties, kills the guy. That's what I would want my teacher to do, and not just be waiting there like fish in a barrel, waiting for that guy to come into the room and then waste everyone in there. I don't want to be a fish in a barrel. I'd rather be a fish with a gun in the barrel. It's not about the weapons humans will use, it's about human decency and violence. I agree. A couple years ago in my country, a lot of men started to attack their ex-wives and girlfriends with hydrochloric acid. That is happening, and it's terrible, and we were just talking about that. These acid attacks, it's terrible. Students could also break the desks. I've seen it happen at my school. They broke into a desk and got the phone back. Well, you'd have to see these gun safes. You'd have to see how they're actually made and how they're constructed and how they'd be on the wall. They wouldn't be in a desk. It wouldn't just be like, oh, it's one little key lock and you open the drawer and you just pick out a handgun. That's not the way it works. They're massive cases that are mounted to the walls. And the only way you can, I mean, you just let someone try to break into them. There's YouTube videos. They'll give them a sledgehammer, a pickaxe, anything you could possibly do, big bolt cutters, blowtorch, nothing can get into this. But yeah, I mean, that's totally irresponsible. If a teacher just had a handgun in their desk, they shouldn't have a gun. I love Black Mirror. I live in a country with no guns from the start, that I get shook when I see a gun in a police's gun pocket, so I don't feel qualified talking about guns. Interesting. I don't think teachers should have guns on them, but that's just my opinion. Thankfully, I'm homeschooled though. Like 10 years ago, for lockdown drills, we used to only go under our desks instead of the whole corner of the class. Interesting. Respect your opinion, but I want teachers to become cops. But you want teachers to become cops. Also, kids deserve to feel safe at schools and not in constant fear of someone going to kill them while taking a quiz. I mean, oh, I got you. So you're thinking if your teacher has a gun, you'd be worried about that teacher killing you. That's interesting. I'm trying to put myself in your perspective. I'm thinking of my high school teachers right now. Are there any of them I wouldn't want to have a gun? Probably. And it's not forcing teachers to have guns, like you have to, whether you love guns or hate guns. It's only the teachers who believe in that. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. As a middle school student, this probably teach me how society may change in the future or not. There's one thing I'd like to have more information on. Why are there more male shooters than female? Does it have anything to do with the alpha male culture? I'd like to see more studies done. Good question. I have no idea. Men and women are very different. Like they're not the same thing. They're very different biologically, the way they think, the way they're wired, the biological makeup of our brain. You know, just saying blanketed statements sounds so ignorant these days, like saying, oh, women talk so much. They just talk, talk, talk. It's so ignorant to say that, but it's kind of true because women have way more white matter in their brain and men have more gray matter. And white matter is responsible for the intercommunication. Gray matter is more focused on an individual task. So yes, women have more white matter, which means they're more communicative and means they're able to communicate more effectively and communicate more often, which is why that saying goes, oh, women talk so much. It's not always true, but there's a biological reason. But men and women are different. So I'm sure the differences between men and women are the reason why there's mostly male shooters. It's interesting to wonder that too. Yeah, really have to think about this stuff, even though the teachers might not be the most patient with students. Do you really think they'll go crazy and start firing on the kids? That's what I'm thinking, Allie. Personally, I'm thinking it's a little unlikely that he's like, you're always getting these questions wrong. Ah, Timmy! I think it's really unlikely. Super unlikely. It could happen. It could happen. I shouldn't laugh, but I just think of these cases where it's like this kid is always passing notes in class and the teacher's like, enough! It could happen though. I think it's more likely for school shootings to continue than for teachers to just snap and lose it and start killing all their students. So it's, which evil do you want? I think the accidents are going to be less occasional than the mass shootings. Not necessarily that the students are scared of a teacher having a gun, but some random person with a rifle. When I was in high school, we had some sort of school security and a local police officer with a gun, and campus no teachers had guns. And that doesn't help, Raven Hikari. It just doesn't. And the problem with that is they don't always do it when they're the only one. Like in the most recent shooting with this Florida shooter, shot all those people, there was a security officer there with a gun, and he was a coward. He saw the shootings happen, and he just stayed out. He stayed away from it. He left. He was outside the building, and he wouldn't go in. He heard those gunshots going off. He heard the people screaming. He saw those people die, and he didn't even want to deal with it. He was just a coward, you know? So one guy with a gun, he could have stopped the shooter, or could have tried, but he didn't. He didn't. So it's not always something that even helps, having just a police officer or some type of security with a gun. It doesn't always help. And it's because of that my personal opinion is I think it would be more effective to have teachers armed. From Luxembourg, violent crimes are almost non-existent. No guns, no knife violence. It's a good thing to live in this tiny country. So Luxembourg is an interesting case scenario. I think that Sweden is similar too. What is it not? Switzerland, Sweden? Yeah, I am thinking of Sweden. So, for example, what if there's a country where there's no violent crime? Would it be a good idea to give all the teachers guns all of a sudden? No, why? It's not needed. It's not needed at all. If they're not having school shootings, if they're not having violent crime, it's not needed. So these aren't things that are universal truths. I'm not saying arm every teacher in every country. It's a reactive thing. It's a reactive thing. It's reactive to, oh, there's all these school shootings. Let's find a way to stop that. Is it? Holy cow, 9:49 p.m. How did this happen? Guys, you got me talking about gun control. This is bad. I got to go to work. I got to eat dinner still. Man, you guys got me ranting. I was on a rant. I've heard about this topic. I want to read your comments so bad, but I need to go eat. Good God, I didn't know that an officer was there and didn't do anything. Yeah, that happened. Isn't that crazy? I've heard about the topic quite a lot, but I'm not super educated. I'm really thankful we're having this conversation. Yeah, me too, Lexi. This is awesome. Singapore, where I live in, guns are illegal. You are not allowed to carry knives in public. That's interesting. I mean, I at least carry a knife with me. You know, I'm not a crazy person. It's mostly because I like opening things. You know, like when I get a package from Amazon, I'll just whip open the knife and open it. That's just like a reactive thing. It's probably crazy. Someone probably thinks like, why do you carry a knife with you? It's also for self-defense. Like if I were just walking to my car late at night and it's a parking garage and some creeper comes up to me, I'm going to start kind of reaching for my knife, you know? I've done that before. When a creepy guy walked past me, I was just, you know, I had my hand there. You know, I didn't need to grab it because he didn't attack me, but if he did, at least I had a knife on me, you know? So I'm not in a state where carry laws are illegal, but yeah. So I do carry a knife on me. Not in places where you can't have them. Like I never carried a knife in school. I don't carry a knife at work. I don't carry a knife in airports. It's only when I'm like running errands or something. You know what I mean? Pepper spray would be better. Pepper spray would be pretty effective, I think. But yeah, doesn't quite stop someone like a knife would, but you get that distance, you know, you can spray it. Well, teachers are also people, and I've seen teachers have mental breakdowns, and that's where I'm getting gassy. That's where the background checks come in. Like they need to have a mental history background check. And if they've got a history of some mental illness, don't give that guy a gun. I don't care if he's a teacher. I don't care if he's a cop. If the dude has mental illness in his history, do not give him a gun. But I don't think that's the root issue. It's interesting because you look at these school shootings, like the 20 biggest school shootings in the history of America, what do they all have in common? Pop question. What do the biggest 20 school shootings in all of America have in common? The one thing they have in common is that the kids were orphans. Every single one of them didn't have parents. They didn't live with their parents. They were in unstable family homes. They all weren't living with their biological mom and dad. So what that tells me is that family is kind of freaking important. And when you have a broken family life, it affects you at a very deep level. So maybe it's not so much, what if we could fix the family? That's a bigger issue. But if we could fix that, maybe that would actually fix that and a bunch of other problems too. My opinion is that instead of arming teachers with guns, forget about the problem. Why don't we do some research on the matter? Josh, go eat. Say if you think Josh should go eat. All right, I'm gonna go eat, guys. This has been really fun. We gotta do this again sometime. Yeah, so my house closes the garden entrance if possible for anyone to enter the building after the door brings. Thank you for doing this, Josh. I've been reading, seeing the same thing lately. I've been extremely stressed over how political my family is. Yeah, it's tough. You know, people are so opinionated, and it's not always a bad thing. People are just passionate. And most people are coming from a good place. Like liberals, conservatives, Democrats, Republicans, they're all good people coming from a good place. Like they're coming from wanting to help and wanting to fix the problem. They just have different experiences, different opinions, different ideas of what would help. It's not like Republicans are the enemy or Democrats are the enemy. They're just two different perspectives, and they both might be good for a certain situation. You know what I mean? So that's kind of goes full circle with everything we've been talking about, is that it depends on the situation. Conversations usually end in argument or anger. I feel stuck in the middle. Helpless has helped to calm down. Good, I'm glad. Me too. I feel great. We didn't have a heated argument once. This is awesome. I will go eat, Cam. But this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining this live stream. This has been so much fun just to talk about. We talked about everything, like literally everything. We went full circle and talked about, you know, like K-pop, anime, and then gun control. This has been so much fun. But I'm going to go eat and I'm going to go to bed. But you guys are awesome. I feel like I'm actually a YouTuber again. This is the first of many live streams that are going to happen. I'm going to start uploading more frequently, but you'll see that. You'll see it pop up in your news feed. I love you guys. I respect and love every single one of you, regardless of where you're coming from politically. That has like the least to do with you. Yeah, so there's no reason to judge anyone for that kind of thing. Everyone's got good experiences, good point of views, valuable opinions, and it's just important that we work in harmony with each other. 2.5 hours, holy cow. We've been talking almost for the length of a Lord of the Rings movie. Are they like 3 hours? Yeah, Lord of the Rings movie. I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace out. And you guys go eat too. I'm gonna go eat, but you guys eat too.